We're back on the grind, boys.
That Sigma grind energy.
Get that holiday mentality over, Joey. We're back working now, man.
No more fun.
Don't remind me. Hey yo, welcome back to another episode of the Trash Taste Podcast. I'm Joey, and I'm with the boys as per usual.
We're just trying to blow people's ears out?
Yes, of course. I'm trying to get some energy in what I like to call, like, this period is like the holiday hangover, you know?
Holiday hangover.
It kind of is, because
That's such an accurate term.
yeah, this holiday was weird for me. And I'll
Okay.
tell you why it was weird.
Okay, tell me why it's weird.
Because I did nothing.
Isn't that good?
And that was the weirdest thing I've experienced all year, I think.
That's how you know we're fucking overworked ourselves. Like it's just like, oh, what? I'm sitting here and it's like, what do I do with my hands?
it was so weird, right? Because we're coming back from Christmas and New Year's. I remember it was like the 27th or something, or 28th of like December.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, God, we've not filmed Trash Taste for I feel like 3 weeks. It was 7 days. And I was just like, holy shit, I feel like I've been off work for a month now. What the hell, man?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like, I, for one, experienced probably the worst Christmas and New Year's of my goddamn life.
Right.
Ooh, okay.
Because I mentioned it very briefly, but I had gastroenteritis or stomach flu. And it was probably...
Why are you using like the cursive version of that?
What do you mean?
It's just stomach flu. Why are you using the cursive? What's the... You trying to make it sound like more serious?
Yeah.
Because gastroenteritis sounds way cooler.
I was going to say, because you did an Instagram post, and I was like, the fuck is that? I Googled it, and I was like, what is fucking, did you say stomach flu?
Well, because I didn't know, because I've always known it as that term. I never knew it was called stomach flu.
Yeah.
So people were like,
parents teaching
so
you
people were
cursive.
like, do you mean stomach flu? I'm like, oh, that makes more sense.
This is literally just the Winnie the Pooh meme with the
Yeah,
Winnie the Pooh.
stomach flu, gastroenteritis. Yeah, so I had the stomach flu, which for those of you who don't know is like kind of like a worser version of food poisoning. That's the only way to
Actually
describe
an
it.
illness then.
Right.
An actual, unlike food
Not a
poisoning,
poisoning.
an
Right.
actual illness. But yeah, I
Wait, so
like.
how do you get it?
So I mean, there's a lot of ways you can get it. For one, like the most common way is kind of like food poisoning, where you you just eat something bad or you drink something that was kind of off
Just
or
like
anything
food
like that.
poisoning with hands?
Yeah, it's
Just
like food.
extra layer?
Yeah, it's like food poisoning, except if it was like built like Mayweather. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's like this thing like punches the crap out of you.
You can die from food poisoning, right? Can you die from stomach flu, or is it kind of different? Just more of a...
I don't think you can die from stomach flu, but you can develop other illnesses. So like
okay.
a lot of people who have like stomach ulcers, for example, and stuff like
Okay.
that, get it as a result of like really bad stomach flu.
Yeah.
So basically, I got that, and I was basically bedridden for about 8 days.
no.
And I've had stomach flu before. Like I've gotten it in like Australia and like the US and stuff like that, but never in Japan.
Yeah.
And like normally, even like in the worst, like kind of like food poisoning, right? The worst is like maybe a couple of days, and then
Yeah.
you get it out of your system and you're
Yeah.
good. But like this boy wanted to hang around for the holidays. He was just like, you're
nice.
alone at home, Aki's overseas. I'll be your company this holiday season.
So you're literally just home alone, just dying?
I was just dying. Like Christmas Eve, for example, was probably like the peak, and it just felt like I was just getting stabbed in the stomach, and I was going to the toilet every like 5 minutes, just like vomiting and
naughty
just
list.
like pissing through my ass, and it was absolutely horrible. Yeah, and so it got really bad around day 5, and
Just around doom doom.
yeah, day 5. It got really bad in day 5, so bad to the point where I was like, I don't know if this is like a stomach flu anymore. I feel like this is something worse. So I went to the hospital.
Yeah.
Imagine fucking Christmas Eve. I'm at the fucking hospital because my stomach is dying.
This is where like an old man would approach you in the street and give you something to make you believe that Christmas is real
Yeah.
on your way to the hospital.
Yeah, free trip to the hospital.
Yeah.
It's
Be
like,
like, oh, I've given you a rice cake. Christmas cheer does exist.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Except instead of an old man, it was an old man in a doctor's outfit
Okay, yeah.
telling me that I just had a really bad case of the stomach flu.
God.
He gave me some medicine to be like, yeah, you'll probably be fine in a couple of days. And then, I finally got better around the 1st or the 2nd of January.
So how do you get stomach flu? Is it from eating something dodgy?
Yeah,
what do you think did it in for you?
So,
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a couple of...
speculate.
So obviously I had a lot of time to look this up.
ain't doing anything else.
Yeah, I'm just lying in bed for 8 days. I'm like, well, I guess I'll learn something new in the medicine field today.
Yeah.
So I looked it up. Like the most common way is like, again, kind of like food poisoning, where it's like you either eat something that was maybe like a little undercooked or a little bit, rotten, or, you drink something where your stomach just like doesn't take it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Another way you can get it is it's called a stomach flu, because it's actually like, you can get it from someone else.
Oh,
So
okay.
if someone with like a stomach flu, say coughs, for example,
Yeah.
and you're in the vicinity, there is a chance you can catch it that way as well.
Oh, Jesus.
So I think though what happened was that, like, I know exactly the day it happened, because 2 days before, I went out drinking with a couple of my friends. Manu, as you guys know, O'Hara, good friend of ours, Maki, Maylene's husband, and then my other Japanese friend. We went out drinking, and I know it was that day because when I told the boys, I was like, yo, I got the stomach flu, and it might have been on this day. All three of them are like, yeah, we're kind of sick as well.
Oh, God.
So it was definitely that day. It was either something we ate or something we drank, but it's weird because we didn't eat anything raw that day.
Maybe you just think that wasn't
So
like,
it must have been something that was like maybe undercooked or wasn't stored properly. And
it does happen a lot more in Japan than you think. As I am a testament to this, it does happen a lot more than you think.
But what's so weird is that, like, I've never had any kind of like food poisoning or anything like that in Japan, let alone something that bad. Like, again, it's like I've had it before, but it lasted maybe like a day or two at most.
Yeah.
But this guy was just clinging on to dear life, and he was just like, I'm gonna make your holidays absolutely miserable this year. So I definitely I got a PB of the worst Christmas. That's for sure. I thought it was bad enough that I was shoveling shit in the snow one New Year's Eve in a blizzard. No, that's nothing compared to this. This was definitely by far the worst. I mean, I can laugh about it now, but man, it was horrible. At least, like, my saving grace was that it didn't happen during a week where I had work
A lot of stuff to do, yeah.
Like, we didn't have any,
Isn't that sad that
which
you're
is
like...
so sad, isn't it?
Didn't you say that the symptoms started to come on the 23rd?
Yeah, literally
Which is
the day after the last Trash Taste recording. So luckily, like, the only thing I had planned was that, because it was the last week of December, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, we've got no Trash Taste. I have no filming, scheduled or anything like that.
die.
Yeah. So I filled up that entire week with, like, seeing friends, or like, I was supposed to go up to Sendai to like see my grandma over the New Year's. I had to cancel all of that and just wither away alone in bed during the last week of 2022. So my year ended great. So I hope you guys and everyone watching had a better holiday than I did.
But how polite of the illness to wait for the day after you film his trash
yeah.
taste.
That's kind.
He was like, you know what? The boys need it. The boys need it. Okay, let him go for that. Yeah, and then I'll come in full force.
I remember, like, I was telling this to Garnt earlier today, and in my head I was just like, man, that is the most Japanese salaryman thing I've ever said in my life. It's like, well, at least I didn't miss out on work, because everyone knows that's the most important, baby.
I feel like
Fuck my holidays.
I willed my body into not being sick, like twice, like recently.
Oh, really?
I felt like I was going to be sick, and I was like, no.
Really? Well, how so?
Do you know when you wake up with the throat, it's a little bit like, oh no. Oh
Like
no.
scratchy?
Bro, I actually had the same thing this holiday.
And I feel like I fucking willed it. I was like, don't fucking dare do this. Fuck. I just got back from my holiday. I was like, I need to work. I want to work. I want to do stuff. And I was like, but I remember I was just like, no, I'm not even giving this attention. I'm not gonna pretend like this isn't happening.
Yeah.
And then literally next day I was fine. I'm like, oh, sick. The day after I was like, oh God, it's coming back. And I'm like, no.
It's like, it comes back when you least expect it. It's like, you forgot about me. I'm
like,
still here, baby.
I'll take a little throat thing. I'll chill out. I'll drink a ton of water. I'm gonna ignore this. I'm just gonna power through.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Oh, actually, yeah.
I don't know if this is and as I said, I don't know this. This is 100% bullshit that I've just made up in my head to tell myself that I'm strong enough to fuck this thing over.
See, but it's weird, right? Because like I remember there's like and again, I don't know how true these are, but like I've heard, on
Placebo
and off
and all
about
that
like,
stuff.
that whole thing of like, if you think hard enough that like,
oh, that's all bullshit.
the disease goes away, then it actually goes away. It's like,
hold up, the disease goes away.
Cancer patients could never.
You know that meme of that graph where it's like depression 0. It's like cancer 0.
Yeah.
People realize they could think it away.
just stop thinking that you have cancer and you probably won't have cancer.
Oh my god,
Skill issue, isn't it? It's a fucking skill issue, mate.
This is gonna be like
Mind over matter,
It's gonna be example 1 of why we get cancelled by a medical association. We're not saying this. We know it's dumb as fuck. This is purely just a thing in your head.
It's just a feeling, because I had exactly the same thing happen to me this holiday, where like early on, like Joey, I woke up and I just had like this sore throat that just would not go away.
Right.
I didn't say anything about it.
Yeah.
And then I go upstairs and Sydney comes down and she's like, "Oh, I think I got a sore throat." And I'm like, "Fuck, don't say that, because if you have something,
Red
that
flag.
just means I'm not just like imagining this pain in my throat right now."
Right.
So we're just like, I told Sydney, "No, we're not gonna let this ruin our fucking holiday." All right. It's like,
it's not real. It can't hurt
It's not
us.
real.
You literally just pulled out. No, you don't.
It's Christmas Eve. It's
Gaslight
Christmas
her into
Eve.
thinking she doesn't have it, so she believes that she doesn't have it and improves quicker.
I guess I don't have it then.
That's literally what happened. It was fucking Christmas Eve, right? And we're like, we're gonna open a bottle of wine. We're gonna watch some fucking horror movies, and we're gonna drink the pain away, right?
It's all right. The alcohol will kill the disease.
This is the worst medical advice in history. We are not medical experts. Do not listen to any of this.
No. Yes.
This is like the same level of logic as like, when you're one step away from getting hypothermia. You're like, just take a shot of the whiskey.
Just
You'll be
take a
fine.
shot.
I don't know if and this is probably bullshit, right?
Yeah.
I feel like there is something in my head, right? When I resign, especially for common colds and stuff like this, when I resign that in my head that I'm like, I'm sick, that's when I become more sick.
Yeah.
In my head, when I tell myself I'm not sick, this is a joke, and I just keep powering on, I feel like I get less sick. I don't know if this is complete bullshit. I feel like it is. I don't know why this happens. Scientists explain why I feel this way.
Okay.
Well, okay.
No, okay. I totally get that though, because I mean, with the stomach flu that I had, when I was starting to like actually, physically feel that, I was like, oh, here it comes. In my head, I was like, no, I don't want this. I don't want to be sick. It's fine. It's fine. Like I started to get like stomach cramps and I started to get like a bit of a fever, and I was like, no, it's fine. It's probably just like built up stress or something. No, not right now. But then the stomach flu was like, what's your source? It's like, oh really? You don't have an illness, do you? May I see your receipts, please?
Damn, stomach flu got hands, man. All right, it got me beat this time.
It's like I'm about to cancel your entire holidays.
Well, do you think? Okay, do you think the body is capable of doing things that science can't really explain sometimes? Because we hear some kind of these like stories every now and then of like people who can do incredible feats.
This just feels like one of those alpha male conversations. These guys in the jungle in Malaysia, they actually found a fruit that allows you to grow your dick 15 times.
How do you become so alpha that you can control your body to the fullest? How do you unlock 100% of your cells?
I think this is like a law of attraction, where if you get 3 dudes on a podcast, eventually they'll talk about the human body and how you can surpass its limits. I feel like this is just
it's the rule of Joe Rogan, man.
This is just a natural phenomenon that happens, and it is so fucking dumb because we're all fucking stupid.
Can we coin this as the Joe Rogan effect?
No, I don't give him credit. I fucking.
So I said it.
I noticed the phenomenon. Let's call it the
Connor Cahoon effect.
No, it should be something better. Like, because I like the speedrun names, because they come up with dumb shit like the skips. They're like the Cheeto skip or something.
Yeah.
It's like,
the Cheeto skip.
That's my favorite thing with like the speedrunning like things. It's like when speedrunners come up with like names of tricks. There's 1 or 2 ways that you can name a trick. The one way is like to be like, you name it after what you do in it. So it's like, this one is called the boulder skip because you use a boulder to skip it. And then the other way is like, this one is called the Jim sandwich because Jim was eating a sandwich when he discovered it. It's like there's only 2 ways you can name speedrunning skips.
I watched the latest Summoning Salt video that was about the
Star Wars one?
Lego Star Wars.
Oh.
And I sat there and I thought, I won't watch an 1.5-hour film, but I'll watch an 1.5-hour video about Lego speedruns. And I thought, is there something wrong with me? No, not that Summoning Salt videos aren't good, but I'm like, what is going on in my brain where I'm like, it's like fully produced $100 million movie? I'm like, no. But this Lego Star Wars speedruns,
Lego Star Wars speedrun,
content.
worse.
This is what I want to watch.
Yeah.
I think there's just a certain kind of commitment when it comes to entertainment. Sometimes you want to watch a highly produced, like a highly
for sure
produced piece of content that you can really like invest yourself in.
Yeah.
But that takes a lot of like, I think that takes a lot of emotional commitment. You know.
I agree, and that's why I think the Netflix logo is too long. I'm out. But the boom, it's just like 5 seconds. I'm like,
the opening, like,
I genuinely have you not done this? Think about it. So many times when that Netflix intro plays, I'm like, no, I'm actually good. And I tab out. I'm like, I think it gives me 5 seconds to like realize I'm getting myself into something, and I'm like, no. Does anyone else do this?
I hate how I know exactly what you're
Have
talking
you
about.
not done this?
Sorry.
Well, you've opened something on Netflix, and that Netflix thing plays. It's literally like 5 seconds, but that 5 seconds gives me 5 seconds to be like, actually, I don't want to.
It's like, it's the 5 second window of, are you sure you want to commit?
Yeah, genuinely. Because then you have like you have like another 10, 15 seconds of long fucking credits playing. And it's just
it's more like 10 seconds because it's the 5 seconds of the dun dun, and then it's followed by Netflix Presents.
Yeah,
or something like that,
just
right?
long enough, and it makes me
Bro,
me feel so serious. So I'm like, I'm out.
The internet has just hacked all of our minds because
this
they've just given us pure ADHD at this point to the fact that a 15-second intro of a logo can make us rethink, do I actually want to sit down for this, or do I just want to put on a YouTube video which just immediately
I could have watched 3
the
YouTube
point.
shorts at that time.
Yeah.
Like that's
I have found myself closing out of stuff a lot more recently. But I did watch something that was kind of interesting. I watched a show on Netflix called Kaleidoscope. I don't know if you've seen this.
no.
Nope.
So the concept of the show is that essentially there's 9 episodes, if I recall correctly, and every Netflix account will be presented to them in a different order. So you'll get a different episode order depending on.
so it's
kind of like Love, Death, and Robots.
Yeah.
Was it all different for everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The episodes in that are all randomized.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But the one thing with this is that it's not like an anthology series. It's like a story that progresses.
But it's told out of order.
Well, it's told whatever order you get given.
Right.
So it's a one connected story.
So it's like a Tarantino.
Yeah,
film,
well, so
kinda.
it's really odd, and
It's like Monogatari.
It sounds impossibly dumb.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I think they do is that I think the last episode is always the same. I think.
Okay.
So everything else.
This is a gimmick.
It's
And
100% a gimmick.
It's a fucking gimmick. Okay?
It's a choose your own adventure, but you can't choose it.
I have heard this argument before because anime has done this before. It was called Haruhi Suzumiya. So originally, when Haruhi aired, it was aired in this. There was this huge debate when it aired, right? Because it was aired like the show out of order.
Yeah.
Where every episode happened in a different part of the timeline.
Yeah.
And that was the first season, right? And then everyone was just like, oh my God, this is fucking genius.
Yeah.
They're letting us piece together the story by telling it out of order. We can piece together the timeline ourselves.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking convinced that they only did that because the most interesting part of the first Haruhi season were the first 6 episodes. And I think the producers realized that because they realized, holy shit, the last episode is a fucking Christmas episode, at least the disappearance. It's basically a fucking filler episode. We can't end the season like this, so we have to like just piece the episodes out of order to make it seem interesting.
It definitely doesn't feel that way. I was very skeptical going into it because I thought, oh, this is just going to be 9 episodes that feel completely disconnected.
And then it's up to you to put the pieces together.
Yeah, but it's not really like that. It was actually pretty surprisingly not bad. I thought it was, I was very skeptical of the concept. I was like, that's fucking dumb. Just tell me the story in the order. But depending on which order you do get, it can be a different experience because essentially a lot of the episodes cover like backstories and certain information is kind of pieced together, or you're given certain, like, you could figure something out way sooner if you're given a certain episode as opposed to something else.
This literally just sounds like Monogatari if you didn't know the broadcasting order. And you just if you just randomly picked seasons and you're like, oh, okay, I guess we're going to find out about this character that I know nothing about.
It is kind of interesting though. I will say I don't know if it's worth watching because it did feel like after I got halfway through it that, okay, it's like I really did feel segmented.
Yeah.
But I do think that if you got certain episodes, it would feel like a completely different experience.
As much as I realize it's like a gimmick, I do actually quite like storytelling methods like that, especially if like the actual root story is interesting enough.
So it's about a bank heist.
Yeah.
And basically there's multiple characters and there's certain episodes, like an episode where they do the heist. There's an episode after the heist.
Yeah.
And so that, there's a chance that you could get the after the heist episode first, which might be confusing because the characters aren't really introduced properly, where there are other episodes that do introduce characters better. Yeah. So it's like I would say there probably is an order that is probably best to watch it.
Yeah.
But you could get, say, like a Quentin Tarantino experience if you had the after heist episode first.
Yeah.
And then you kind of piece everything together.
Well,
so it does work.
The thing about how you're describing it is that to me, like, I love the kind of storytelling method where it's not always presented to you in chronological order, but there has to be some sort of intention with that.
Oh, no, I agree.
It needs to be done with purpose. Like the first example I think of, aside from Quentin Tarantino, is like Barkano, right?
Yeah.
Barkano, the story is told in different time perspectives and it's not given to you in chronological order, but a lot of thought from the creators was given into what piece of information do we allow the audience to see in order to piece things together. This just feels like we have a story and we're just going to randomize it and let the audience figure it out. And I'm just like, that's just fucking lazy. Okay?
It just sounds like a Vsauce episode of like, so the story starts at chapter 1, or does it?
I think it was probably just a case of, hey, we have the show. How do we secure Netflix funding? Let's have a gimmick they can market.
Yeah,
and to be fair, it is interesting. Like it's kind of impressive.
Sounds interesting, yeah.
It's impressive that you could have all these episodes kind of be mixed and it somehow still makes sense.
Yeah. Is it a good show?
I'd say 7 out of 10. The reviews are pretty positive for it.
Okay.
7, 8 out of 10s. Like it's decent. Like it's a fun gimmick. The acting is kind of some of the characters act and you're like, what the fuck? Yeah, where they find you? Because they have like Gus from Breaking Bad is the main character, and he's pretty good because he's good in everything.
Yeah, for sure.
But some of the other actors, you're like, what? Where'd they find?
Does he play a bad guy again?
No, he plays a good guy.
Oh my god!
Oh
my god!
Good, depending on who you ask, I suppose. Well, I don't know.
There is no way he can play. A
listen, I'm of the mindset.
He's playing a sus again.
Hey, listen, whoever we're following in the story, I'm like, that's the good guy, straight up. I don't care if he kills everyone. We're following him. I sympathize with him.
Yeah,
I got monkey brain.
That's also definitely like a trend or a gimmick recently as well, isn't it? That Netflix is banking on with a lot of their like fictional stories. Is that like you're following the good guy, or is he really the good guy?
Well, I think it's just made like that kind of storytelling has become more popular because of like big shows like Breaking Bad.
Genuinely, I was thinking about this the other day. Was you still watching a lot on Netflix, right?
I watch documentaries.
I was like, does Netflix still make good stuff?
The general consensus is no.
Yeah, because I remember, I've realized recently just how little I watch Netflix in comparison to how much I used to watch it. It used to be Netflix had this show that I really, really wanted to watch, or like a few shows, and then you'd find some random shows along the way.
Yeah,
and some random shows put on the background. And now it just seems like every time I put on Netflix, it's just this is a background show. And it's never. I never put on Netflix to be like, I'm going to commit to this anymore.
I mostly just use Netflix to like just watch like movies that have come out in the past where I'm just like, oh, okay, it's on Netflix. I guess I'll watch it while it's here. Yeah. But it's not like something I'm like seeking out. It's not like I have to watch this movie. Thank God it's on Netflix. You know.
I mean, I haven't watched the new Knives Out yet, but I heard that's pretty good.
I've watched it.
Was it good?
Did
you watch the first one?
I didn't watch the first one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I kind of didn't know anything.
You watched it out of order?
Well,
yes, I did.
It's an anthology.
But I heard that it was all like every story.
The first one was really good.
Is meant to be self-contained.
Yeah,
right.
And yeah, I mean, had a fine time. It was like a kind of like a murder mystery whodunit, and then it didn't blow my mind away or anything like that. It was a fun time.
Okay.
We watched it on Christmas Eve, I think.
Right.
And it was like, for some reason, even though it was set in like a middle of like a fucking summer, like Mr. Beast Private Island kind of
I got
deal.
10 people on an island to solve a murder mystery.
One of them is going to die.
I remember watching Knives Out and I was like, this just feels like a Mr. Beast video that they've scripted for like the longest time.
It didn't make the YouTube cut, so they're just like, let's just give it to Netflix. It's gonna get demonetized anyway.
I've actually killed Chandler, and you have to find out who did it. God.
Oh my God.
I mean, I think Netflix has really been struggling for a while. I mean, especially if you look at the amount of shows they've cancelled.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, the big meme is that they just cancel every show that's remotely interesting and good. And they keep pumping out 15 Adam Sandler movies. Which is kind of
we definitely need those.
Well, apparently they do. Like in terms of retention, they're like one of the best.
Yeah.
People fucking love Adam Sandler movies.
To be fair, I did watch Click while I was sick, so.
Well, that's an older one, but like his
doesn't
new
love
one.
Adam Sandler
They're very easy to watch.
Yeah.
I'm guilty too.
What is like a new Adam Sandler film? Because I feel like I haven't heard of an Adam Sandler film in like 10 years.
Well, because they're all just kind of like direct to Netflix, kind of meh.
It's like the equivalent of like direct to DVD, right? Where they don't really get a cinema theater release.
Have you guys watched any of the recent ones?
I watched one of them that was a murder mystery. Funny enough,
like a comedy murder mystery, or just like a straight up murder mystery?
Comedy murder mystery with like I think it was Jennifer Aniston, and that one was really bad. But I also didn't like. I think he's done a great job at making everyone know his films suck, but we'll still watch them.
Right.
Because you're kind of like, I mean, it's harmless.
Yeah.
It's like porridge. You're like, well, I mean, I guess.
I don't love it, but I don't hate
It
it.
just feeds me for 2 hours. You know? I think that's what's happening.
Today's episode is sponsored by Honey, the easy way to save when shopping on your iPhone or computer.
Is there any better feeling than finding a good deal?
I don't think so, no.
Exactly. Well, thanks to Honey, manually searching for coupon codes is a thing of the past.
Honey is the free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one it finds to your cart. Boys, imagine it. You're shopping on one of your favorite websites. When you get to the checkout, the Honey button appears and all you have to do is click apply coupons. Wait a few seconds as Honey searches for coupons it can find on that site. And if Honey finds a working coupon, you'll watch the prices drop.
Woo! It's that easy?
It's that easy. Garnt, what did you save using Honey?
Well, I've been doing something a bit peculiar recently. I've been reading books.
Fuck off.
Like real books?
Like
be done.
real books.
It can't be done.
And Honey has saved me $5 buying some of the best titles I could have asked for.
Did you know that Honey doesn't just work on desktops, it works on your iPhone too? Just activate it on Safari on your phone and you can save on the go, gentlemen.
No.
If you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out. And by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting this show. So get PayPal Honey for free at joinhoney.com/trashtaste. That's joinhoney.com/trashtaste. This episode is sponsored by Raycon.
The new year, gentlemen, is here. And whether you're making big changes or just settling back into a consistent routine, chances are you could use some audio accompaniment on your journey. I know that for me, it's crucial.
You guys been listening to anything recently?
Boys, you know, I've been going back to the gym and man, I have the best metal collection of music that I listen to every time. And you know, you want to blast that in your ears, right? To get yourself pumping. And what better way than to get some high quality earbuds like Raycons, for example? Because Raycons everyday earbuds look, feel, and sound better than ever. With optimized gel tips for the perfect in-ear fit, these earbuds are so comfortable and they will not budge.
Raycons give you 8 hours of playtime and a 32-hour battery life.
Some things I like about the Raycon earbuds is, for example, the earbud tap functions, where I don't have to keep opening up my phone to go to the next track. I can just tap right there.
Joey, what about the noise isolation?
I mean, I love it. The last thing I want to hear is the crappy music that plays at my local gym.
So what are you waiting for? Go to buyraycon.com/trashtaste today to get 15% off your Raycon order. That's buyraycon.com/trashtaste to score 15% off. Buyraycon.com/trashtaste.
Back to the episode.
I also watched a new Avatar.
Oh, the movie.
Yeah.
I want to watch that. Is it worth it?
How was it?
Long.
Yeah,
So long.
Isn't it like, it's like 3.5 hours long, right?
It's so long.
Yeah.
It's
Does
like,
it feel long?
Yes. I fell asleep during
not a
the
good
movie.
sign.
But I woke up and I felt like I didn't miss anything. So that's also...
I heard it's just the same story as the first movie, but just it's underwater now.
It's the water people.
Wait,
and
wait.
then the next movie is the fire people. So he's one element away from a lawsuit. But, he's got to be careful with the fourth one. I heard they've already filmed it. He can't be doing all four elements. I mean...
No, I think he has filmed all of them.
He has.
Yeah,
but if he can't do all four elements, surely. I mean, that's... and
then,
apparently the Fire Nation are like the bad people in this one too. I feel like, come on,
And
man.
then eventually Jake Sully is going to have a fucking arrow in his head and start floating around.
Well, so listen, I watched Avatar and I watched it in Canada. I watched it in this weird, I've never seen this before. It's like some kind of, like the main screen and then the walls have a projector where it extends the screen. So like there's more stuff
like a
screen.
curved screen?
No. Like a wall,
Yeah.
and then the two side walls are projected, and there's just more off of the screen. I don't know what this is called. Can we Google this?
What?
Yeah.
Like an ultra wide screen?
No, it's
wide?
not a screen. It's literally just the walls, but they're like projecting like more of the screen. So imagine like this is the set of Trash Taste, right? So this is the screen, what you'd normally see. And then there's just like all of this that you don't see.
Right.
And they've just projected that on the walls.
Oh.
It's weird.
Okay.
It's not like zoomed in or anything. It's like, it's so
is there
bizarre.
stuff happening on the sides where you have to like keep looking around?
No, it's just like background stuff.
Oh, so it's kind of like adding to the aesthetic.
I think it's just trying to immerse you. It was really shit though. I didn't think it's very good. Like it's like you go from this like 800K display to like blurry wall. Like it's kind of shitty
projection.
Yeah, it was kind of shit. I didn't really like it.
I heard, because I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard a lot of people talking about it and like kind of giving their like criticisms and stuff like that.
It's too long, bro.
Well, for one, it's like too long. And two, I heard that like they shot it at a different frame rate, right?
I don't know.
I think apparently the second. Can you look this up? But like apparently from what I heard from a couple of my friends, yeah.
So Joey now notices the difference in frames. Okay.
Again, I haven't seen it.
It's got more frames.
Now he's bringing up frames.
But according to my gamer friends, they were saying that like apparently now this one, instead of the standard 24 frames, it's done in like 49 frames or something, but 48. So some cinemas that don't support the 48 frames, it just makes the movie look like shit.
Right.
Really? And it's kind of like, again, like please confirm this, but like yeah, it is, right? So it's like so if you go to a cinema that supports 48 frames, then it doesn't make it any better because it kind of is the same vibe. In my head, it's kind of the same vibe as like, you know, watching like 60 frames per second anime.
I mean, it's
kind of like, this looks a little like, it's like a little too smooth.
There is a difference between 60 frames per second anime and a movie that was intentionally shot at a certain frame rate, right? Because 60 frames per second anime isn't actually 60 frames per second anime. It's at 24 frames per second, but someone's put it through a fucking After Effects filter to interpolate the frames so it looks like fucking shit. Please stop doing that to animation. Oh my God. It's like my biggest fucking pet peeve
luckily it's
of all time. It has not died.
Really?
I haven't seen it in a while.
Okay, every time I want to like search up a cool anime fight or like an anime opening on YouTube, the
4K 60 FPS.
Yes, the top results is never actually the original fucking scene. It's always interpolated. And I'm not saying like all interpolation looks bad. There are some like AMVs and there are some edits that can make really good use of the interpolation effect. Right. But you can't just put an entire fucking scene through that and think that it's all going to translate well. It just ruins the entire scene to me. And it boggles my fucking mind.
Even though I guess like the concept or like, you know, the transition from the original source is different, like it's kind of, from what I heard from a couple of my friends, it's kind of that same feeling of like, because you're so used to watching it in 24 frames, like, you know, cinematic films, when you watch it at double the frame rate, it's like, it's like the first time you watch 60 frames per second YouTube, it's just like, this is really smooth to the point where it's kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know what James Cameron's idea for that was. He's obviously trying to like push cinema in different ways, right? But it's like, I don't know if that was the right move.
More frames.
It's like, I don't know if more frames was the right thing.
If that's true, I don't think that's the first film that's done that, because
I'm sure it's not, but like at the same time, it's like,
was it Hobbit or something that also did the same thing, that like filmed at a higher frame rate? And there was this disconnect where it like some of the feedback that was given was people who weren't used to seeing films in a higher frame rate.
Did you notice the difference when you watched the Avatar movie?
No. I don't think so.
It just looked like a standard 24 frame.
Yeah, man. It was good. I just wish it wasn't that long. It was really, really long.
All right.
It's just, was it a good film?
I would say yes, but I don't think it's a great film.
I've never seen someone so confused about his experience
like,
with a film.
In one hand, I'm like, you know, I fell asleep for like 20, 30 minutes at one point, and I felt like I missed nothing. When I woke up, I felt like I knew exactly what I'd kind of missed.
Well, for one, falling asleep in a film is never a good sign.
It was just like
you can't fall asleep for like a fifth of the film and being like, I think it was a good film.
No, I think when I was awake and like technically speaking, like it's a fucking masterclass. Like it looks insane. Like, it is stunning.
Yeah,
but also it, you know, I mean, Avatar 1. Did you watch Avatar 1?
Yeah.
Well, you've seen Avatar 1, and I kind of felt that it didn't really expand upon it in a way that I was kind of hoping.
Well, Avatar 1 was never about like the storyline.
Avatar 1 is just Pocahontas in space.
Right, but
That's
like
all it is.
how do you make then a sequel to a story that wasn't even that really impactful?
Did you like Avatar 1?
I liked Avatar 1. I thought it wasn't like crazy long.
Yeah.
It did what it needed to do. It told the story, and at the time, it was like technically groundbreaking. It was good.
Yeah,
like, it was
I think what
blockbuster.
made Avatar 1 entertaining, at least for me at the time, was the fact that compared to other compared to other like cinematic, like big cinematic films at the time, I think its strongest point was definitely just like how insane like the CG was, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
like the visual
it's even
the
better.
visual elements, right?
Yeah,
but
because-
like I feel now, I think the reason why people aren't talking about it as much with the second film is because now there's a lot of like, like MCU films and like big cinematic films that are probably at the same quality, if not, a similar quality to what Avatar 2 might have. Again, this is coming from someone who hasn't seen the film. Just
Avatar 2 technically looks way better than any MCU film.
Did it like give you? Okay, here's the thing about Avatar 1, which I'll never forget. Even though I've forgotten like most.
I've forgotten everything, but the one thing I won't
I've
forget.
forgotten like most of like the story and characters.
Yeah.
is what I was trying to say.
'cause the
But
characters
I
from
will
one.
never forget the experience of watching Avatar 1 for the first time in cinemas because I remember being blown away by the experience and the visual effects.
Yeah.
And that feeling has still never been eclipsed in like cinemas for me. Even watching like Endgame or stuff like that, I like it's never eclipsed the first time seeing Avatar 1 in cinemas being like, holy shit, CGI and films can look this good?
Yeah.
It is like a step up again. Like,
Yeah.
you think you're like, how could it look better than the first?
Yeah.
What was it again? It was like it's the underwater CG, right? Is like the selling
There's a
point
lot
this
of
one.
like, there's the whole fucking film's water.
Right.
And it's cool. I just think the problem is I just like, because obviously if you remember the first film, it was Jake Sully was the main character.
Yeah.
Man, sounds like I'm racist against blue people, but dude, I had such a hard time in the start of the movie figuring out who the fuck was who. Against these, because it's like it's all
these blue people look the fucking same.
like all these, because it's the whole movie is basically from the perspective of like avatars. Right?
Yeah.
And
The Na'vi, I think
and
they're
it's just
called.
like the Na'vi, and you're just kind of like, after a while, you're like, I don't fucking care. Like I don't care about Jake Sully's kids. And then I think that was the problem, is that we hadn't, obviously because it's been so long and the story is like many, many years in the future. You're introduced to these characters you've never met. I don't fucking particularly like the kids that much. And I just kind of thought, God damn, man, can we just do something else? Can we just have like a different character?
I do remember one thing I kept seeing on like TikTok especially is just like these like weird fan cams for like Jake Sully in Avatar 2 because unlike in the first film, in the second film he's like a dad now.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And he's like, and there's like this like weird group of people on TikTok that I've seen of like people making fan cams of Jake Sully as being like kind of like a DILF material.
Yeah.
And
Well,
there's just
I
like,
mean,
I saw this one of like this girl freaking out because in one scene, I guess in Avatar 2, Jake Sully goes like, "What's up, baby girl?" And then people who are like into that whole like DILF side of things are just like, "Oh my God, he's so hot." And I'm like, we definitely didn't have that in Avatar 1.
BTS, I sleep now. Jake Sully is
Jake Sully as a DILF? Woke shit.
They did this really cool thing where Jake Sully is so before this happens in the film, when they're talking Na'vi, it's all subtitles, and then at one scene he goes like, "Oh yeah, it's like English to me now," because he's like talks about how he became so native in the language,
yeah.
and then as he says that, we start hearing the native language in English. And the rest of the film, it's all in English when they speak in like the
Oh.
because of that like cool transition. I thought that was pretty cool. That was a really cool way of handling how you have this language and kind of getting over it and making it more accessible.
I guess people don't want to.
because otherwise the whole movie would be Na'vi subtitles.
I guess people don't want to sit through 3.5 hours of subtitles.
Oh, dog, dude!
Yeah.
I could not sit through that if I had to read 3
Anime
hours of
fans
Na'vi.
could never.
Anime fans could never.
No, we can never do that. Who would want to do that? Ugh.
But I guess just when it's a made-up language, you're like, why? Just put it in a fucking language.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I get it. You want to build the world up, but if it's like, man, it's like 3 hours. You're like,
Yeah,
holy
that's a
moly.
bit too much. I
I'm
get
like,
that.
is the world building that? Am I really going to be that
Did
more
the
immersed?
visuals blow you away as much as seeing Avatar 1 for the first time?
I mean, I was so young when I watched Avatar 1. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't really remember. I mean, I when I was sitting there watching it, I was very impressed. I'll say that much. Like, you can't not notice how insane it looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even just watching the trailers, it's like, oh shit. Okay,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
looks
and
insane.
again, it's one of those movies that if you haven't, I'd recommend going checking it out at theaters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like,
It'd be a shame to watch it at home.
yeah, I mean, from the trailers alone, it looks insane. But I don't know if it's me getting old or if it's just technology reaching kind of like its apex.
CG looks really good in general nowadays.
Yeah, because it's similar to what's going on with like video gaming right now, right? Where I remember, growing up playing like the Super Nintendo and then getting an N64 for the first time and seeing that jump from 2D to 3D, it was fucking insane.
Yeah.
It blew my mind.
Kids today will never be able to feel that.
Kids today never. And then like going from like Mario 64 to seeing like the visual improvement into Mario Sunshine.
Yeah.
That was like fucking insane. And then like,
and now you can see Mario's paws. It's like
as technology improves, I'm looking at, let's say, I remember playing the original Last of Us, and now I see like the remaster, and I'm like, what's the difference? I don't see it. And I look at Avatar 2, just the trailers. I haven't seen the film. I look at Avatar 2, and I'm like, this looks fantastic. But I look at Avatar 1, and I'm like, this still looks fantastic.
Right.
And I don't know if I'll ever get that same wow moment.
Like,
that I
how
got.
much better could we get to the point where it actually makes a discernible difference, where it's like instantly
exactly.
recognizable? Right?
Exactly.
I mean, I was still more blown away by, Masterpiece, that hentai. That was definitely more visually impressive to me. Speaking of which, the third one's coming out this month, and I'm very excited.
Oh, really?
I'm clearing my schedule.
They're bringing it back. They're bringing it back.
Masterpiece.
Dude, Avatar 2, I sleep. Masterpiece 3,
I've got
I'm awake.
it in my calendar, bro.
I am awake for that.
I've called up Kleenex. I'm like, send it all. Send everything.
Send in the maid. We're about to have a deep clean after this.
I'm gonna need the pressure washer for this one. Send it in.
Bring in the blue light.
I mean, it's fine. I think I don't know how Avatar 3 and 4 are going to be interesting enough to keep everyone engaged in the story. Because I heard that Avatar 2 didn't really do that great box office wise. I could be wrong.
Compared to Avatar 1 or just in general?
In general, like in the modern.
Really?
'Cause you need to make a lot more money in cinema today to make it more viable.
For sure, yeah.
And especially with the amount of money and time he sunk into it.
Yeah.
Because I feel bad for the guy if he wouldn't be able to like finish the vision he had for it. Because I do want to see how it ends still. Like I think it's a cool enough world where and he's such a good filmmaker, James Cameron in general, where I want to see where it goes. I just worry that it didn't do well enough, and if the third one doesn't do well, like what. Is he gonna be like, fine, I'll do it myself, I'll bankroll it, what's gonna, because he's a crazy guy.
Yeah,
he is a fucking insane guy, especially when it comes to the art filmmaking as well. He definitely pushes the boundary.
For sure.
One thing that really surprised me about Avatar 2 was how little I heard about it before it actually came out. I didn't know it was out until it came out. Normally, I remember Avatar 1 came out. When that came out, it was this fucking hyped thing, this hyped movie that completely revolutionized digital technology in films, and it did at the time.
It was also like that kind of kicked off like a very big wave of 3D.
Yeah, and
that's why we have 3D cinema still stuck with us. That's garbage.
Yeah. But like I'd heard nothing about Avatar 2 before, and I don't know if it's just me not being as involved in like the film industry or anything like that, or like having less
but
eyes on
even
it.
still, it was like I wasn't necessarily in that community when Avatar 1 came out, but it was like inescapable. Like everyone was talking about that film, like so much so to the point where everyone was like they made it like their job to just go and watch it, and regardless of whether you enjoyed it or not. But this one, it's like, I don't know, maybe it's because like the environment of like movies being promoted and stuff like that has changed over the years since Avatar 1 came out. But like same thing. It's like I found out about the trailer because I saw it on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, this trailer came out a week ago and I hadn't heard about it. Like I knew it was coming, but I didn't know when it was coming.
I didn't even know. Look, I had heard that in the woodworks that there was an Avatar 2 being made.
Yeah.
And then my next news about Avatar 2
is that it's out.
It's out. I was like, what? This was in production this entire time? Well, I had more information about fucking Dune coming out before then.
I think people were pretty excited about it. It's weird. It was really scattered online. It wasn't like this one big push. The marketing wasn't crazy for it either.
Yeah.
I think that was probably because they were just banking off the fact that it's like everyone's seen Avatar 1.
Maybe. I don't know. I wonder what it was. I either way, I mean, I hope it does well enough to come back for a third and a fourth. I hopefully won't fall asleep next time. I just think it was too damn long. It was too damn long.
Yeah. Fell asleep 7 hours, 8 hours. You know, I was like, what?
I didn't fall. Okay, to be fair, that day I was very tired, and I felt like I would have fallen asleep in most movies unless they were like insane.
Right.
That day particularly, it just hurt Avatar that it was just kind of like, hey, there's just like a lot going on, and in the middle, my God, does the film feel so fucking slow?
Right.
Because the start's kind of really engaging. There's a lot happening. And then the end, there's this giant, fucking scene, a battle that goes on for like 40, 50 minutes. It's long.
Of course.
Jesus.
And it's really impressive and cool. But even that felt like, hey, come on. Can we wrap
get
this
to a
up?
conclusion?
Like, it felt like a shonen because like something would happen and then it'd be defeated. And then, of course, there's another like, but he's getting back up, or oh, but this guy's coming back, and it's like, what the fuck, man?
I like to call it the Nani moments.
Yeah,
It's just like what?
Talking about not wanting to commit to like entertainment because like I've wanted to watch Avatar 2 because like I said, it looks beautiful, but the thought of having to go to the cinema and sit down for like 2.5, 3 hours, I'm like, maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow comes. Maybe like the day after, I'll get some time. And then I know if I don't watch Avatar 2 in cinemas, I'm not going to watch it on the small screen.
Yeah,
there's no point. There's no point in my mind. So the clock's ticking to see if
how much longer is it out?
Probably like a week or two. I can't imagine it'd be too much longer.
Oh, fuck. All right.
Like a month tops.
I got to make some time then.
Yeah. Watch it. It's definitely an experience.
It is an experience.
There are a lot of things. Like getting your balls castrated is probably an experience. So,
I was asleep for 30 minutes of it, but 7 out of 10.
I imagine stomach flu is an experience.
That was an experience for sure. I was asleep for most of that. And that was like a 2 out of 10. So
you might like Avatar.
I might like Avatar,
you'll enjoy it.
Avatar 2 is kind of like getting stomach flu. Sleep through most of it, and then you just, it's a...
The majority of it is painful, and you sleep through some of it.
You guys feel well rested for the year coming up?
Oh my God, yeah. Because I mean, before this episode, we were, because this is our first day back in the office, and so we obviously had to figure out what our schedules were for this year, and just TLDR, it's fucked. But which is good. We're keeping ourselves busy. Lots of cool things, lots of exciting things coming up, which we can. Hopefully show you guys.
How's Canada?
Yeah, how's Canada?
Canada's fun. Canada's chill. I mean, I've been in
You went
America
skiing
so
in
much.
Whistler, right?
Yeah, in Vancouver. Yeah, as every good white person does on vacation, I went skiing. I'm now kidding.
How was the snow?
It was good. It's fine. It's just like busy. It's a very popular place to go.
Yeah,
skiing, I guess. I don't know. Have you ever been skiing? It's fine. It's fun. I like it. It's fun.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about how to describe it. Like. Which is very standard because I mean I wasn't really going.
Well,
did you fall asleep?
Yeah, question. What was a better experience, skiing or Avatar 2?
Like selling this.
Probably skiing.
Okay, good.
Selling this experience, Connor's just like, yeah, it was.
I mean,
I guess
I mainly went for basically just to see my family because one of my brothers works out there, and I just wanted to spend time with my family because I haven't seen my older brother in like 5 years.
Damn.
And I hadn't spent Christmas with my whole family together in like 5 years. So I was like, okay, yeah, sure. When they wanted to go out to Canada, I was like, yeah, sure. Even though I've spent most of this goddamn year in North America, I was like, sure, let's go to Canada.
Let's go again.
Yeah. I like Canada's chill. Canada's fun. Canada's like a really nice place. Everyone's nice. It was just like, when I arrived in Vancouver, it was like a crazy snowstorm. And so it was insane.
Yeah, Aki's flight got delayed a day because apparently like all of like the north and like east coast were just having these like horrible blizzards.
I think when I flew in, it was like at least half the flights to Vancouver had been like canceled.
Yeah.
But for me, I was like, like nothing, like absolutely nothing. Got to the airport, I was like, damn, it's dead. No one's here. And I was like, all right.
Just like weave through it all.
It was great. Yeah, it was super, super easy. Man, Canadian immigration people are so much more chill than American ones.
Yes,
that's for sure.
they are.
They were like, so what you doing? I'm like, skiing. They were like, have a good one. And I was like, oh, this is very
Meanwhile,
nice.
US would be like, where exactly are you staying? What's your middle name? What's your family? What's your mom's maiden name?
Like, what's the like circumference of your ball sack? Yeah. Tell me right now. Like,
we need to know.
Tell me your entire family tree right now.
Give me a review of Avatar 2 right now.
Yeah, cause I think because when I went to the US in December with Pete, I think Pete had tried to crack a few jokes. And Pete's American.
Yeah.
He was cracking a few jokes to the immigration people, and they were just like, no, don't. But he's American. It's
like not right now, bro.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to stop you, but shut the fuck up. I mean, Canada's nice. Canada's just chill. I mean, I literally just, all I did was maybe like, okay, one day I might go skiing and then with my family, and then the next I would just do nothing and just chill.
I've actually never been to that side of Canada. I've never been to the Vancouver side. Like I've like gone like, you know, laid over and stuff like that in Vancouver airport, but like I've never been outside. I've heard Vancouver's a very nice city.
It feels like Seattle, but more Canadian.
Right.
It's very like...
Probably because it is.
It's very geographically very close.
Yes.
But it had similar vibes to Seattle.
Okay.
I think I prefer the east coast of Canada.
Oh, like the Montreal side?
Been to like New Brunswick before, and that was kind of more chill. I feel like Vancouver doesn't feel very stereotypically Canadian in a sense. Just feels like a more like a North American city with a sprinkle of Canada.
A little sprinkle of Canada.
A little sprinkle of Canada. But it was fine. I mean, I didn't spend that much time in Vancouver. Actually, dude, when we were looking at places to eat, it was like all Japanese and Korean and Chinese restaurants in Vancouver.
Really?
Yeah, because I think there's a giant Asian population.
Yeah, I've heard that there's a giant Asian population in Vancouver.
Massive. And yeah, dude, the lines for all the ramen shops were insane. Like loads.
Did you eat any ramen?
I had no, it was Santoku. Santoku, is that what it's called? Hokkaido, that chain.
Oh, the ramen.
Yeah, that chain.
Yeah.
They had a chain.
They have one in Vancouver.
They had one in Vancouver, and I was like, because I was with my family, and they were like, "We'd like to try it," and I was like, "All right, well, I'm flying back to Japan tomorrow, but I'll never say no to some ramen." And it seemed like it was like, I mean, it was a Japanese chain, so I thought that's pretty legit.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I'd say it was probably just as good as most Japanese ramen, honestly.
Okay.
I think a lot of people like to pretend that ramen is some kind of godly thing here, but honestly, like I feel like
No, it's literally junk food.
Yeah.
it's really like if you have the ingredients, it's kind of hard to fuck it up.
It's like the cheapest meal you can get here.
Yeah, it's like sure, there are some
you know?
amazing ones in Japan, but
For
like
sure,
the bog standard ramen you get in Japan, like it isn't as special as people make it out to be.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was fine. It was good, and all the staff spoke Japanese, so I was like, me. I got this. And I think they were like, "What the fuck?" When I started speaking.
Yeah.
Like,
when you busted out the sumimasen.
Sumimasen. I'll take un ramen hitotsu. No, they were pretty chill about it. They didn't bat an eye. But I was like, I ordered in Japanese. My family were like, whoa.
It's almost like you've been living in Japan for how many
years? That's sick. You could do that. And I was like, well, yeah. I mean, I guess I can order food. Like that's pretty basic.
My family's like, yo, he's fluent in Japanese.
This boy's fluent, bro. And I was like, no, ordering is easy.
Yo, how'd you say this in Japanese? Yeah. How'd you say that in Japanese?
Dude, I was there, and I was like, I swear, I was like, Canadian Matt Stoney had come in opposite me, bro. This guy had ordered 3 ramens to himself and ate them.
What?
Yeah, it was insane.
Like
3 full bowls of ramen. I was eating my ramen. I was like, what the fuck? I was getting so distracted by this guy. I felt bad. I was like staring at him because I was like, how is this guy doing?
I'm surprised your competitiveness didn't kick in and be like, sumimasen.
No. Dude, I realized, man, I was struggling to eat my large size ramen. I regretted getting the large, but it's decent. Yeah, I mean, Canadian food is just American food, kind of. They don't.
I mean, I guess on that side of America, right?
It's just very Americanized stuff. I mean, I had poutine, obviously. I mean, even though
do you think poutine meets the hype?
Fuck no. We have that in the UK. It's literally called chips, cheese, and gravy. They pretend like it's different, but it's literally not. We came before you. Don't fucking try and take our stuff. Poutine, you can put a name on it. We literally had that. We've always had that in the UK.
It's just because it has like a fucking French name there. It sounds like a cuisine.
Yeah,
we've had dish.
Every single chip shop in like the North UK does this, and it tastes no different. I don't care what they say. It literally tastes.
But
the
there's
same.
one issue with that. You have to go to the north of the UK.
Yeah, that is the problem. I will say.
Thank you for saying it, Joey. Thank you for you saying it.
I like North UK. All right.
Yeah.
I will say that in occasional restaurants, you can get like fancier versions that are pretty good.
Yes.
I think we had a fancy one one time when we were
one.
in Toronto. It was pretty decent.
It was,
that was fine. It was good snack food.
It was fine.
Good bar food.
I'm not going to be like, hey, dog, get in here. You got to try this.
It was fine, but it felt like it was, okay, this is like junk food. It's like a comfort junk food.
Yeah.
And you've just prettied it up a bit, you know? It's like serving bangers and mash or something. And, you know, there's only so much you can do with like bangers and mash, right? But at the end of the day, just some sausages, a bit of gravy, and some fucking mashed.
Maybe that's
potatoes,
what you
right?
guys need to start doing. Instead of calling it something like unattractive, like bangers and mash, give it like a fancy name.
Bro, we need
Like,
some. We need some more fucking.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's fucking hot.
I don't know, man.
We need
nutty.
some more fucking French names, man. Every time the French name something, it just automatically sounds.
Just call it like banger ou mash.
banger ou mash.
It's like, oh shit,
And
all
then
right.
you can charge 10 times the amount as well for the
Exactly.
same fucking thing.
Big brain.
Like, why are we calling it like fucking milk? Call it like liquid de la moutiti, and then it's like fucking $15 or something.
Obviously, we're full in French, as you can tell.
Omelette du fromage.
Yeah, exactly. There's a reason why they call it omelette du fromage instead of cheese omelette.
Yeah.
You know? It's just like, it just sounds a little fancy. It's like, oh, okay. All right, fancy boy right
speaking
here.
a whole nother language.
God damn, all right.
You know what memes I'm really glad made a comeback? Zoolander memes.
Oh, yeah.
they back?
Yeah, they're like they're back in, man. They're so
Thank
good. They're so
God.
good. They're so funny.
That's a movie I want to rewatch again.
That's been my highlight at the end of 2022. That's
Yeah.
Zoolander memes
I
coming
just got
back.
a bunch of Zoolander memes on my recommended, and they're all bangers. They're all so good. That's bangers and mash, right?
That's
That is bangers
all
and
I
mash.
did, you know, because I was with my family, and obviously my family just want to have drinks every night. So I came back and I was like, please, no more drinks. No more.
Well, that's just like every holiday in England.
Oh, for sure.
And
for
I'm not sure about America, but you just eat a fuck ton and you drink a fuck ton. And that's basically what I did for my holiday. I gained a lot of weight. I'm back on that fucking salad diet, guys.
See,
back
on the
salads
contrary,
every
I
day.
lost a lot of weight
Yeah.
because I was drinking nothing but Pocari Sweat for 5 days.
Oh, you
Joey
poor,
was on that
poor
stomach
human being.
flu.
I wanted to lose the weight, but I was like, not like this. This is probably the worst way to do it.
Did you get your health reports back? I saw you did your stream.
Yeah.
You did a stream.
I did a stream of it, yeah.
I'm like,
Oh,
that's.
shit.
I always wondered when you guys did the stream, I'm like, is it weird that they know our health results? I'm like, because I told my chat too. I'm like, whatever.
I mean, I
yeah.
did a video last year.
Yeah, I wondered. I'm like, is it weird that we were making content out of this? Maybe a little weird.
Maybe a little weird, but
Sure,
you know.
sure.
Was your health report good? Was it better than last year?
It was actually.
Wow,
I
congratulations.
actually
That salad diet's working.
I actually improved in like almost everything I got a B in. It was like moved up to an A, and I remember last year I got like a C3 for my urine, which
Yeah.
Oh, shit, that's right.
I don't know what the fuck I did. I was like pissing wrong. This year I got upgraded to an A, so I'm like, fuck
A for urine.
A tier urine, man.
Wow.
I haven't got my results back, but
Mine has been the exact same for the past 3 years.
yeah, mine's probably going to be the same as
They're
well.
like, Connor, you're the perfect specimen of a human being, but what's going on with that cholesterol? We got to sort that out. It was a little lower this year, though. But again, like all this shit means nothing. It's like they're like, oh, this is what your HG/L is. I'm like, can you fucking tell me what that means?
Also,
Like,
not to mention, it's kind of unfair for like people like us because they base that ranking mostly on like the Japanese average.
Yeah.
right?
dude, when they measure my waist, I'm like, bro, I got a cake down there. What are you like? Of course, it's not gonna be like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
come back fat.
Yeah, like because I remember last year they were like, "Oh, your waistline is a little bit wider than average," and I'm like, "No, I'm just bigger than the average Japanese person.
Yo,
That's
just
all
call
it
me
is."
fat, okay? Is that
Yeah.
what you want to say? Just call me fat, okay?
No,
just say it.
Yeah, it's called natural insulation, and it's great in the winter.
I'm carb loading, okay?
I'm
Okay,
carb
it's all
loading.
good. It's all
Yeah,
good. I'm carb
stocking
loading.
up for the winter.
Yeah.
I remember when I because I think I got that health checkup in December. Dude,
Yeah.
I remember I
Yeah.
felt so. I was like this the one person who stood out the most. I walked in wearing my drip jacket, and I just sat down in this thing between like 20 other Japanese businessmen in suits, and I'm just there in my drip jacket.
Yeah.
Like number 22, I'm like, it's me. just walking through these dudes, and they were just like, "Are you here for the health check?" I'm like, sawdust now.
And your
Hey,
test
I-
results just says alpha male.
Dude, I gold splitted the circuit this year though. I went through everything so goddamn
Oh
fast.
yeah, same.
Oh, yeah.
There was like nobody there.
Yeah.
So I just went through everything. Like I had done like it's crazy, right? Japan, you do an X-ray, you do a blood pressure, you do a weight and height test, you do
Yeah.
blood injection, blood sample, hearing, listening test, the doctor consultation, waist and kind of, I guess, waist and then what else?
And then they do like the heart.
And they do cardio
cardio
kind of
thing.
Cardio
put
thing.
like
Yeah.
electrode things on your heart and they test it. All that in like 15 to 20 minutes, if that.
I actually like, I don't know, maybe they changed it up on the day that I did it, but like they did it in like a completely different order. So so normally it's like the X-ray first, right?
Yeah.
I did the cardio thing first.
I guess it depends on like whatever.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, is this like a new speedrun strat? Like, are we?
It's crazy.
Are we doing a cardio skip
You're,
first?
you're, you're legit like a cattle. It's so impressive how good they are.
Yeah, they're just like boom, 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 boom. You're out.
That's
in
one
like
of the time
15 minutes.
I don't mind being treated like a cattle.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, I am.
Just
I am
get
the
me in,
man.
get me out.
Let me
Yeah,
go. Let
that's
me go.
great.
Give me some grass, dog.
Give me some.
I'm down.
Do they take like fucking 5 to 6 vials of blood when they take your blood as well?
It's like
What?
No, it's like 2 or 3.
One.
No, they do like 2 or 3.
What? I'm looking. I'm like, it's like 1 or 2 tops for me.
No, they take at least 3.
Really?
Yeah,
They
but they
take-
do it so fast that you don't even notice because they do it mid-conversation. They're like, "Oh, does it hurt?"
Yeah.
And then they've replaced it with a new vial before you
Could
know
have
it.
fooled me.
Yeah, because I think we talked about this before, but I can't look when they're taking the blood. So then I'm having this conversation with the nurse or whatever, who's obviously trying to keep my mind off it. And then I look back and there's like a basket full of just like my fucking blood of like 5 vials. I don't know if you hit 30, they make you do more tests, but I'm like, Jesus Christ, that was in my body.
The lady's like, "This is my personal collection." She's just like,
I'm gonna sell this.
She's like a
This is a
psycho.
tip.
Just like racked it up on the shelves. It's like,
I've been meaning to test some fine Thai blood.
I now have every country's blood stocked up on my shelves. Oh my god.
Yeah, but I mean, the health is it's a good way to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, if you get to, I think 40, you have to do a mandatory colonoscopy or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Isn't that fucking wild?
Yeah.
That seems like I'm just not gonna make it to 40. I'm chill. I'm quitting. I'm out.
You get to 39, you're like, I'm out.
I understand why we're doing it, and I understand the risks of not having a colonoscopy, and I'm good with that.
Did they anesthetize you though?
No,
No,
not in Japan.
No.
In Japan,
serious?
a lot of common procedures in the US where you would get anesthesia,
Yeah.
you don't in Japan.
So what? You just awake while they shove a camera up your ass?
Yeah.
What the fuck? I'm good, fam. I'm out at 39.
If you ask people,
Joke's on you. Some of them
should-
like that shit, man.
they're like,
Yeah, some of them come in and
Yeah,
it's like,
the fucking-
oh,
They just come in and they just fucking go see like
No,
ready to
because-
go. Like,
because the-
I'm ready, doc.
because like in Japan, how are you people okay with something is that you make it just make kimochi desu. Yeah. The thing goes,
guaranteed. There's some 40-year-old salary man that's just like, it's time for my yearly health checkup. Oh, boys.
I couldn't sleep last night because I was so excited.
he's like, do you mind? Like, lights candle.
This is my favorite scent. Alexa, play Careless Whisper.
It's like how like the crane games, they go, like that when you miss it. Like they go, is that
Oh
nice?"
yeah! Oh
yeah.
my
Oh.
god!
And so there's no way they must have it. Like kimochi.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just like play like a thing, like a recording of a woman.
It's concerning though. If you look up, like, or ask people who've had certain surgeries in Japan, and if you have the exact same surgery in like the US or Europe, you would have some kind of pain medicine. In Japan, it's only like no.
Yeah.
For certain things that you would in other countries.
They're trying to
which is
breed.
super fucking concerning. So like, I would like to not feel this, please.
Yeah, it's the only time where Japan is like, you're an alpha male, all right? You can take it.
It's strange. That's
That's how they did it in the Stone Ages.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want to use super strong painkillers where you don't have to. But there are some situations you're like, please, I beg of thee, please give me some pain medicine.
I don't want to feel this.
Yeah, I am begging you.
Like, I
to use
literally
some.
don't have an option to not do this. It's mandatory.
And also, I guess Japan doesn't, the over-the-counter pain medicine is also super weak, which is probably a better thing. Because in America, the stuff you can get is pretty fucking strong.
Yeah, I think they do that mostly. I think I remember reading it up. I think they do that mostly because it's for the older generation who, like, their body can't take as much stronger medicine.
Yeah.
But it's like, because I remember, I had to buy some pain medicine when I had the stomach flu, right? And I went to the pharmacy to get some over the counter, and I was like, give me your strongest shit. I am dying right now. And she was like, all right, here you go. And I looked at the packet, and it was like, take 3 times a day. One time take 7 tablets. And I'm like... I'm just like fucking chowing down on tablets. I'm like, how many?
You got the salt grinder out?
Just crush it up.
Yeah, because I noticed the first time I got sick in Japan.
Yeah.
Because I remember that one time we had karaoke together and like we all got ill or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I remember we had it was a 10-day trip,
Yeah.
and I had 1 day of karaoke with Joey, and then the rest of the trip was just me being ill in bed with Sydney in my Airbnb. And that was my trip to Japan. But I remember, like,
Good times.
I thought for how expensive the over-the-counter medicine was, because you can get like paracetamol, Lemsip, Tylenol in England and America for like pretty cheap. In here, I remember like this one week I spent like $100 at least for just like a week's worth of over-the-counter medicine, and it was like weak as shit. It did nothing.
Give me
for
the real shit.
Yeah, give me the real shit.
I'm ready, doc.
But I think that's the thing. It's like I don't know if it's like a tactic or whatever, but like I think that's why a lot of Japanese people just don't even bother going to the over-the-counter stuff. They just go see a doctor to get like the actual proper stuff. Because again, like when I had the flu and like the pain medicine, like the 21 tablets a day was just like not working for me. I was like, all right, doc, I like this shit's not working for me. Give me the actual good stuff. And he gave me just one, give me the good stuff. And he gave me one which was just like 1 tablet 3 times a day, and that worked a million times better than the over-the-counter stuff, and it cost less. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing buying this over-the-counter shit that doesn't work?
This over-the-counter shit, you pay like $20 for 1 box, and it lasts you like a day because you're taking 5 pills per like. They recommend like before and after, before every meal, take 5 tablets. I'm like, there's only fucking 10 tablets in this box. What are you talking about?
You know that like stereotype of like, in like old folks' homes where they have like the tablets thing. What's it like in Japan? It's just like here's your cereal bowl of tablets today, ma'am. It's like it's like, how many fucking tablets are these old people taking?
I never buy medicine here. I can't take most of it anyways because of my blood condition.
Oh, yeah, right.
I just don't even bother.
I mean, you're saving money, honestly, dude.
I'm like, I can't read this shit anyway, so I don't even know. So I just don't bother. And I'm like, I'm dying. I'm like, it's fine. I'll be fine. I'll recover.
I remember after like my first few months of living in Japan, the next time I went back to England, I'm like, Mum, just let me go to Tesco's. Let me stock up on all of the fucking, let me stock up on all of the over-the-counter medicines. And I remember, I didn't realize that there was a limit to how much like Lemsip you can buy.
Oh yeah, I mean, you also have to be really careful because some over-the-counter stuff in the US and the UK, you most certainly cannot bring into Japan.
Oh yeah,
you'll get in a lot of trouble if you do.
Yeah.
So please, before you bring any medicine into Japan or any country, you should just make sure that you're allowed to.
Yeah.
Generally, really weak over-the-counter stuff is normally fine.
Yeah. Because I wanted to stock up on like paracetamol and Tylenol and stuff like that.
Well, paracetamol's a generic drug, and you can get that in Japan as well.
You can get that in Japan, but it
doesn't work as well.
It does.
Vitamin or something, I think it's called. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's a generic name or something.
It even doesn't say on the box it's paracetamol. No, it's like a different name.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like a lot weaker and a lot more expensive. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just like buy some Lemsip, buy some paracetamol to bring into the country. So I have like this medicine box in my home that I can always rely on. And I remember going to the co-op to buy like all of these different boxes of paracetamol, and they're like, what are you doing here? Are you like dealing to kids or something? What's going on here? We can't serve you all
kids,
this
you want some drugs?
and I'm like, no, sir, you don't understand. I'm just going to Japan.
I'm sure that helped clear it up for him.
It's like, oh, of course. All right.
It's pretty cheap in the UK. I think like a generic box of paracetamol is like in like US dollars, it's like 50 cents, 40 cents.
Really?
Super cheap.
Damn, that's really cheap.
So it's generic. Like you can get it anywhere.
Holy shit.
And a lot of stores sell it.
In Japan, it's like fucking $15.
Yeah, it's expensive in Japan.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. But a bowl of ramen's like $5.
Yeah.
So you can have 5 bowls of ramen or weak ass painkillers.
Yeah.
Go for the ramen.
Like paracetamol in Japanese. In Japanese, or it's like another different.
Called acetaminophen or something.
Acetaminophen or something.
Something like that.
I can't remember what it's fucking called. We are not medical experts. Please do not listen to any of our medical advice, and please make sure that you ask a professional before consulting for any medical advice.
Ask a doctor, which we are not.
Honestly, like my genuinely my advice of like if you're coming to Japan and you get sick is that like, well, obviously first get like, travel insurance and shit, and just like go see a doctor, because like for one, you're gonna get what you need, and also in a lot of ways it is cheaper and just better in my opinion. And also like a lot of these like general practitioners, like they don't take that much time out of your day. Like when I went to go to the hospital, it literally took me like 20 minutes.
Yeah, the one thing that is good about Japan is they are pretty quick.
Yeah,
you don't really sit around. Like in the UK, you can be sitting there for a long time waiting. It's pretty short.
Yeah, I was only around for
Yeah.
like 20 minutes, and like the doctor checked me out for like a couple of minutes, and was just like, "Yep, here's your drugs."
It's either good or bad.
Either good or bad.
It's like, hey dog, you're fine. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Sure. Drugs. Drugs. Let's do it.
We got 'em.
Let's do it.
I got him,
Yeah.
amigo.
I love drugs.
So, I went to an art exhibition the other day.
So you hate parks, and now you thought an art exhibition's better?
It was like okay. Here's
Hold on. There's different types of art exhibitions.
Yeah. Okay.
There's the pretentious kinds.
I would argue. I would argue all of
Wait.
them.
Finish that sentence, Jay. There's the potential. Okay.
And the ones I like.
There's the pretentious kinds, and then there's like the fun interactive kinds.
Okay, I went to the fun interactive.
Okay,
kind.
good.
Which one did
But
you go to?
what are the pretentious kinds?
You know, the ones that are just like look, I'm gonna call them out. A lot of the contemporary arts museums around the world that I've been to are just like a little bit too like, yes, this is art. I have nailed a banana to the wall and I've called it
It's actually
art.
duct tape. Banana
I
Yeah,
would
whatever.
I would argue that they're all like that though. Some of them are just more fun
Is it
than
about
others.
modern art or? You know, 'cause I think older art museums are pretty stunning.
Oh, older-
Getting-
yeah,
getting
those
to see,
ones are
you know, like
nice.
a Rembrandt up close.
Yeah,
You're like,
for
"God damn,
sure.
That's fucking stunning.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I mean, like, we went to this, I can't remember the name. It was like teamLabs or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah. Oh, you went to teamLab.
I went to teamLabs,
It's like,
yeah.
that is like, I am a tourist in Japan.
Yeah.
Every single article about places to go in Japan has teamLabs.
Has teamLabs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. They've dominated the like tourism. what to
You've been,
do.
obviously, right?
I've
Yeah.
never been.
You never?
No.
I mean,
I've
the
been
only-
like 2 or 3 times. It's
Yeah,
fun.
because like the only reason I was there because like we were in the area and we had like an hour or two to kill. I was like, "What's in the area? Oh, teamLabs. Let's
Sure.
go check it out." And it's weird, right? Because it was the whole things about teamLabs is that it's this kind of like interactive kind of art exhibition where they have different pieces that most of them you can interact with, right?
For Instagram.
Huh?
For Instagram.
Oh,
it is an Instagram's trend.
It is-
Like it's literally
Nobody
on Instagram everywhere.
there actually cares about the art. I'll say that
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
Okay? Everyone there cares about
Tell
getting
them,
a
Garnt,
cool
tell them.
fucking profile
Man, no one
picture.
goes into a teamLabs room and goes, "I love the way that the colors are representing our internal stuff." They're just like, "All right, where is the prettiest background for my next Instagram post?"
Yeah, I know this because I was the only one actually fucking reading the text with every exhibition. Everyone was just like walking past.
I didn't even know there was text.
Because like we were like we would walk through this thing and I would be like, and there would be like this text explaining this art exhibition at the end. Sydney was already in the next fucking room and I was like, wait a minute, I'm reading this. And then I read it and then I'm like, okay, now I understand why no one reads this.
Yeah.
Because like it was okay.
It's Instagram bait disguised as an art museum.
Yeah,
Like,
of
that's
course.
That's what
Yeah.
it is. Like it's made for Instagrammers. So like
Yeah.
people taking pictures, which is
Yeah.
fine. Nothing wrong with that. But pretending to be some pretentious art museum is kind of like, well,
Well, I mean, I went to Meow Wolf on the US tour, which is basically the American version of teamLabs, where it's like it's an interactive art museum, but
Yes.
no one actually gives a shit about like the art.
So
I mean, maybe
what
there
was
is,
in
I don't know.
Meow Wolf?
So Meow Wolf is very much similar to teamLabs in the sense that like it's separated into like different rooms. So like
Right.
each room, I don't know how it is in teamLabs, but at least with Meow Wolf, at least the one I went to in Denver, was each room is actually done by a different independent artist. So
Yeah.
the vibe and the feel of everything and the interactivity and the level of interactivity is completely different in different rooms.
Yeah.
So and there isn't usually like one theme of the entire place. It's like all over the fucking place. Whereas like teamLabs is kind of like the theme I feel like kind of flows into one another, so it feels like just one big exhibition rather than lots of little small exhibitions.
Right.
And I feel like at least Meow Wolf is a lot more like, I don't know, it's kind of like teamLabs on crack. It's just sensory overload.
Right,
Whereas
right.
teamLabs is a little more like subtle and more like ambient in its feel, right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, this is kind of a nice, calming environment that is also very aesthetic and Instagram worthy.
Yeah, because there were some exhibitions where there were some pieces where I was just like, I'll be honest, I don't get it. Like there was one exhibition where you had to like take your shoes off because there was a lot of teamLabs. There are some exhibitions where you can get up to like knee-high water.
Yeah, yeah.
And here I am, rock up in like boots and the fucking jeans. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to have a bad time. But luckily I could just roll my jeans up.
pretty cool though.
Yeah, it's very cool.
But there was like one exhibition where the exhibition is you walking up you walking up like a slight incline, and then there's like warm water trickling down. And mind you, this water doesn't smell like spring water. It's very clearly chlorined water.
Yeah.
So it just smells like swimming pool, right?
Oh.
Because God knows how many people are walking in this water. And then I remember like, oh, this is a cool entrance to an exhibition, right? This is a cool entrance to whatever they're about to show us. And then I walk up. I reach the top of the hill. I reach the next room, and then there's a plaque explaining that was the exhibition. I was like, what? I thought that was like the entrance to the art piece. I didn't know that was the fucking art piece itself.
What was the explanation?
The art piece is that we've made a shit river.
It was.
Was it good? Was it worth the money, would you say?
If you post on Instagram, I didn't take any pictures, unfortunately.
You didn't take any pictures?
Did you really go, Garnt?
Wait, hold on.
And
I think you are the only person I've
Literally-
ever heard of that has gone to teamLabs and not taken a photo.
Literally the only person on earth to ever go there and not take a picture.
Yeah.
I took photos for Sydney.
Oh.
It was the
It's funny,
perfect.
don't get Instagram posts,
I
honey.
was the Instagram
Yes, honey.
boyfriend.
It was the perfect opportunity to bring your Instagram back from the dead, and you blew it.
I was like, nah, I'm good, man. My
Wow.
Instagram
Not
is
today.
like, if TeamLabs can't revive it, it's fucking
It's
buried
6 feet
in
under,
there.
bro.
But then there was like another art piece as well, where it was basically this room that was padded from like ceiling to like floor, and like all the walls padded with like bean bags and stuff like that, and you could like you couldn't like walk on it without fucking falling over or something, because like it was just so well padded that you would sink in. And like the whole point of that is that I can't remember the
What's the
exact-
message behind that?
the whole point
Okay,
of that.
lay it on me, dog.
Okay, I'll try to remember what the message was, because I was reading this and I was just like, this is I don't fucking get this. So it's like, since the world is flat, we've forgotten that we can affect each other, right? So
Wait, hold on. Did you just start off with the world is flat? Was this made by Flat Earth? So we all know the world is flat.
Since we walk on a flat earth
Yeah.
or a flat floor,
Yeah.
we forget the effect we can have on our fellow human being. So
See,
in this
because the
room-
message I got, because I remember that room,
Yeah.
the message I got out of that room is, oh, it's like a McDonald's playpen. This is fun.
The message I got of that room is TwitchCon could fucking never, man. TwitchCon could never.
This is what TwitchCon wanted. They didn't have enough phone for this shit.
What? What?
Was it? I think I remember one of the cool rooms in TeamLabs. I think it was like, it was covered. It was this kind of hallway that was covered in like very, very light string, just like
Yeah, that
hanging
was the
down,
coolest one.
that had
Yeah.
like lights attached to it.
Oh, yeah.
And the lights would kind of like flicker and like wave back and forth as you were like kind of waving through this like sea of lights. That was really cool. What's the message behind that?
I don't know. That was. I just remember going through a lot of like the exhibitions in TeamLabs, and
Reminds me of like a scene in John Wick. That's always
Yeah.
thought of it. Like this is like the penultimate scene where John Wick has to kill like the main bad guy's like bodyguard.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then it's always in like one of those art things where it's like everything's a mirror and we gotta everything's reflective and there's lights and someone's gonna fight them.
There was a room in Meow Wolf actually where the entire thing was just full of mirrors.
yeah. It's just I just like
It was
going
pretty cool.
They've been pulling that trick since like the circus days
I
in
know.
the 1900s.
I know, but I've never been in one, and so when I went in one, I was like, "Oh, this is true."
Wait, you never been in like a hall of mirrors?
Never.
What? That's
We-
like every like shitty carnival has one.
I never went to a carnival.
They don't have carnival. They don't have shitty carnivals in Australia.
Maybe they do, but my parents never took me to one.
What?
Yeah, I think my biggest takeaway after going out of like that like interactive art experience is that it's a fucking travesty that you would make this in a country where every fucking every drug is illegal. It's just like it's an actual fucking travesty, you know? Like
That is true.
it's just
That's funny.
It's like you don't need drugs. Just use your imagination and read the writing on the walls that no one fucking reads.
because I'm going through it and I'm like this is an exhibition that just seemed to be made for like a country where you pop an edible or something and go to beforehand and you go enjoy the experience, you know. It just seems like that was what this experience was tailor made for, and obviously
Yeah.
that's not a thing in Japan. So
Oh man, museums in Japan are either like amazing or so bad, and normally they're bad.
Yeah.
What's a good museum for you then?
I think a good museum is one where you know nothing of the source material or what it's based on or what it's there to cover, and it can engage you.
Yeah.
So I think like, you know, have you been to the Natural History Museum in the UK? That's really good. Like, I don't fucking care about dinosaurs. Maybe I'm like the one person on Earth who doesn't
I don't
care.
know. I don't know.
I don't care about dinosaurs.
People say they don't care about dinosaurs, but no one actively hates dinosaurs.
Deep down, there is the 5-year-old you that's like,
Yeah.
oh, Tyrannosaurus.
I actually don't give a fuck about dinosaurs.
When someone says they don't care about dinosaurs, I'm like, bet. There's a bone in your body that's just like
it's like a really everything in that museum is so well made, and all of the information is presented in such a really cool way.
Yeah.
You know, and when you go into like the dinosaur exhibition, it's you literally walk in and all of these like elements explaining everything about dinosaurs and stuff.
Yeah.
Literally above you is a giant fucking like dinosaurs like skeleton.
Yeah.
It's really cool, really compact. It's just really busy.
that's just because dinosaurs are cool.
Dinosaurs are sick.
But even like the stuff where it's like the bug museum part of it, I'm like, that's fucking sick.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
that's awesome.
no,
Yeah,
I
like,
love-
given there are some topics that are easier to present in museums than others. I think animals are like one of the easier ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like something like art is like, I'm like, fuck, I don't know how you'd get me interested in that.
I've been to art galleries before.
Yeah.
And it's let's just say it's not for me. You know, that's just
When I'm in a really popular museum, I'm like, fuck, man, I wish this was quiet. But then when I get in a really quiet museum, I'm like, fuck, I'd love something, like some cough or something.
Yeah,
some noise.
there's like a balance of like the amount of people in an exhibit, right? Like, because I remember, like, I don't really have time to do it anymore. But I remember when I first moved to Japan, I had this like period of like 6 or 7 months where I used to go to the Mori Arts Museum in Roppongi. There's this art museum in Roppongi, like in Roppongi Hills, where the old YouTube headquarters used to be.
Oh, is that where they have that weird like fucking like Stranger Things ass monster thing looking statue?
Yeah, the spider looking thing, right?
Fucking creepy.
Whatever that
statue.
thing is. But basically, on the top floor of one of the buildings there, they have this thing called the Mori Arts Museum, and I think it's like
Is that where the anime stuff goes?
a lot of anime
Okay,
exhibits.
I went to the Almost Neverland one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I don't know what the fuck this is. I was like, I don't,
Yeah, but
I only watched
basically, it's
season
like, I
one.
think it's like every couple of months they switch out the exhibits to like new things. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's like anime exhibits. Sometimes it's, you know, just like an independent artist. Sometimes it's like maybe like dinosaurs or something thematic.
Yeah.
And I had a period for like maybe like the first year or so where I would go to the Mori Arts Museum like every other month just to see what was there, because I think the way that they did it was really cool, because it's like, obviously if it was like an anime museum, like I went to the Attack on Titan museum there and like the Sailor Moon exhibit there, and like they did a ton of those. But then there was some where it's just like an independent artist where it's like, I've never heard of this person or what they do, but let's go check it out. And I think the Mori Arts Museum does it in a cool way, because it's kind of like, a lot of it is like a lot of contemporary arts where it's kind of like teamLabs, where it's not necessarily interactive, but it kind of is. It isn't just like, here's some paintings on a wall.
Yeah.
You know, it's very much like sculptures or like whole room exhibits, or like, you know, something to do with like lighting or something like that, where it's like a little more interesting than just being like, yes, the paintwork on this is exquisite. You know, it's like, and it's like, I don't have a problem with that kind of art exhibit as well. Like, I've been to the Louvre and stuff like that, and a lot of it is like that, but like, there's more history behind that, right?
Yeah.
And that's the interesting part to me.
Yeah, I mean that with those kinds, that's more like a museum.
Yeah.
in my mind,
Yeah.
because you're seeing like actual real history. You're seeing a kind of experiencing a part of history and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you know, there has been art that has like impressed me and stuff like that, but I feel like one, you really need to be in the right mood to be there, because then you know,
Or you need to be on the right drugs. Depending on who you ask.
yeah, because like unless there's some kind of interesting way to display this information,
Yeah.
right? No matter if it's like an art museum or if it's just a museum about whatever, right? If it's just this display and just text next to it, it's just I've never found that interesting at all.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm just scrolling through a Wikipedia article.
Yeah,
you know.
I think like one of the really cool ones I remember going to see in the Mori Arts Museum was this independent Japanese contemporary artist who does a lot of like exhibits and paintings, but all of her works kind of play around with like this idea of perspective.
Yeah.
So there's like there was a piece I remember.
Is the black and white one?
I don't know if it's the black and white one, but there was one where like one of the rooms you walk into and the entire room looks like the inside of a train. But when you look on either side of the walls are actually like skewed in. So when you look straight down it looks like the wall goes way further than it actually does. And it looks like you're like actually looking down a carriage of a train. And like stuff like that is cool because it's like, it's not just like painting and some text.
Yeah.
You know, if anything, I think that exhibit, like that entire exhibit, there was no like text to read about. It was kind of just like go see it for yourself, feel how you feel, interpret it how you interpret it, and like
post your pictures to Instagram.
Yeah, like you know, I like the kind of exhibits where it's like it gives you the space to interpret how you want to interpret it. Like if you want to find that to be cool, then sick. If you just look at it and be like, yeah, all right, then you're free to do so, kind of thing. You know,
because like, how do you feel about the anime art exhibits or the manga exhibits that pop up every now and again?
Yeah, because I've been to a lot of them.
And are you going to convince me it's anything but a glorified way to get exclusive merch?
I mean, that is definitely true.
I feel like that's why like 90% of people go to them.
That's why I go to 90% of them. Because I'm like, okay, seeing the original panels, pretty dope.
Yeah.
You know, like when I went to like the Berserk exhibit, for example, right? I was like fucking seeing like Miura's art and shit like that was like, you know, up close and personal was fucking amazing. But I want that limited edition painting though.
It's like every time I see a new like anime or manga exhibit, I'm like, oh, they decided to do a pop-up store and an extra exhibit on top of that, you know? And it's nice. And I think Berserk is one of the few examples I think of that could really work because Miura's art is fucking insane, you know? And I think it would be insane to see his original manuscripts and everything like that.
Actually, I think one of the best anime exhibits I ever went to was probably the Baki one.
Seemed cool.
That they did at Tokyo Dome, because it's like, it's not only you get to see like up close and personal, you know, Itagaki's like panels and, you know, art and stuff like that, but they also had interactive elements. So like in the middle of the exhibit, they basically recreated like the under the Tokyo Dome like battle area with like full on sand and everything, and they added little details of like little bits of like teeth and nails like on the ground and shit. And like there's a statue of Baki that you can like stand next to and take a photo with. Like, it looks like you're fighting Baki in the underground. Like stuff like that, I think makes just standard like anime exhibits way cooler. Like it's still cool. Like if you like the artist, or you know, you like the look of the manga or whatever, just going to go see the original stuff as a fan is dope. But like it gives you more of an excuse, I guess, to like, you know, actually be part of the experience if you have something there that's not just, let's just look at some manga panels, you know?
Yeah, a lot of them that I've been to are just literally like behind the scenes panels. And it's like, okay, if I'm really into that, that's cool. But a lot of the times I'm kind of like, okay, well, I mean, I kind of like
I've already seen this.
Yeah, I read it, and I feel like they're like, oh, it took him 2 days to write this. I'm like, okay, well, did I need to come here to find that out? Like,
right.
A lot of the times I'm just like, why go to a physical location? Like, and cool, maybe some behind the scenes or early panels or mock-ups. That's cool. But like for me, it's like, you know.
Yeah.
But that Baki one sounded cool. I'm kind of sad I didn't go to it.
Yeah, the Baki one was cool. What I didn't like about the Baki one, though, is the fact that the add-on that they decided to tack onto it was a Baki-themed cafe, which...
they always tack
Japan
on the
does
cafes.
every single fucking time. But like the Baki one especially, I was like, wow, you guys took the laziness of like incorporating the elements of Baki with standard cafe food to the next level. They had like fucking carbonara that was themed after Detsukayo, and I'm like, one, there is not a single moment in Baki where Detsu is eating carbonara. And two, when you look at the picture, it's literally just a plate of carbonara with like a paper cutout of Detsu's face on top of it.
Wait, is Retsu the Chinese guy?
Yeah, the Chinese guy.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And I'm like, you weren't even going to like match it with Chinese food? You gave him fucking carbonara?
I think a lot of the times I'm just speculating on how it works, but I think a lot of them are like outsourced cafes. So it's like whatever the cafe can make.
Yeah, for sure.
So you just kind of like, fucking put their face on it.
But at least like, I've been to
some of them are good though.
Yeah, I've been to some themed cafes where like the food actually matches like the theme of whatever it is. Like that's
obviously
the reason why
it's easier though as well. Like certain shows lend way better to having a theme like food than others.
Yeah, so I totally get it, but it's like at that point, if you're gonna go so far as to like not even put the effort to like at least try and get close to the theme of whatever themed cafe it is, then like what's the point in wasting your time and money on it?
Well, money. It's always about the money.
I guess.
It's always about money.
I guess
We need
so.
the money.
I guess so.
That exclusive merch, man. Like I say, it's like the. I
bought a penny and a skateboard from the
I go to every exhibition, and I swear 90% of the people are waiting in the merch line, and it's like 10% are in the actual exhibit.
Exactly.
itself.
Yeah, when I went to I've been to a few cafes with Emily because Emily's obsessed with them.
Yeah, I don't know how
she's doing videos about them, and we went to the I don't want to spoil a video, but we went to the Banana Fish Cafe, and there was merch, and my god, it was like one of the merches was that you could buy a prepackaged cookie, just a cookie, like not, but it's like the outside packaging is themed for like
Banana Fish.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess how much the cookie was.
Like how big are we
Just
talking?
a normal fucking size cookie, just like literally a Starbucks cookie that you could buy.
400 yen, 500
It was like
yen?
900 yen
What the fuck?
for just a cookie.
That you're probably not gonna eat because you don't want to ruin the
Is
packaging.
it just
I don't
anything
know.
special?
No,
about the
it
cookie?
was just a fucking cookie. It was literally
Wasn't even banana flavored?
I don't even think it's banana
Oh
or
my
fish flavored.
God.
And again, like this food is always just so meh. I hate going to these places. Like I've wasted one of my caloric intake meals on this, and I paid a premium for it. If I would have rather have gone to McDonald's, like literally anything else. Like why? Food is my one joy in life, and these cafes rob it from me. And I get so sad when I go to them.
Yeah. Which is why, like, I think I really appreciate it when I do find a themed cafe that actually gives a shit about trying to.
I've never been to one where I thought the food was good.
Okay, because the only one I've been to that I thought was good was the Kirby Cafe.
I've heard that one's pretty good actually.
Yeah.
But the booking is like nuts. You have to like all the semi-decent cafes you have to book like 10 years in advance.
Yeah,
And the Pokemon one you have to book like 2 months in advance.
Yeah, the Pokemon. But even then, like, I've been to the Pokemon Cafe a few times, and it's like the food is good. Like, it's better than the standard themes cafe, but still, it's like it's fucking cafe.
It's
food.
hard, especially when it's a pop-up too, to make food that's even remotely good because it's all.
Well, that's why the Kirby one is good because that's a permanent one at
Right.
it's like a Skytree.
They have more time to be able to like put
and it's like the
effort
food, the food items that they have and like how they present it, it actually matches the theme of the Kirby universe. I'm like, oh, they actually put some fucking effort into it, and the merch is actually good. Like,
Okay, question. Because you've been to Disneyland.
yeah.
Do you like the Disneyland food? Do you think Disneyland? Okay, because like people always try and lie to me and tell me that it's good, and every time I've been, I've hated the food. I've only liked the popcorn. That's literally it.
Like, I don't think I've had a single meal or snack at Disneyland where I'm just like, yes, this is worth coming back for.
Yeah, you know how everyone wants they have turkey legs. At Disneyland? That's like the thing.
Yeah.
Bro, it was vile. I hated this thing. It was disgusting. I'd never understood. Like, I'd never wanted to become a vegetarian. I never had any part of my brain that made me think that I should become a vegetarian. But seeing that kind of disgusting, like veiny, gross, like red, like bright red turkey leg that I'm just chewing into made me get it. I was like, you know what? Yeah, no, I get it. This is actually
Eating animals are gross.
Like, this is disgusting. Like this, it doesn't even taste good. Like if it tasted divine, I'd be like, all right, well, sorry, turkeys.
Yeah, see, but then Disneyland fans will come back on that argument and being like, well, yeah, but like the point of Disneyland isn't the food. It's
A lot of them swear by it though.
It's the world building.
It's the world building.
And they take me out of it knowing that like fucking Donald Duck or Mickey Mouse is a shit chef and he should never cook. Like, honestly, the best food I had in Disneyland was just a standard ass hot dog.
But that's because you're a hot dog fiend.
I'm a hot dog
It
fiend.
could be an F tier hot dog, and you're like, it's all right.
They'd be
it's
like,
all right.
I was asleep for the 30 minutes, but 7 out of 10.
You're right. As long as it snaps. I'm good.
Have you been to Disneyland in Japan yet?
No.
Do you plan to?
And I have no intention of ever going.
Now it's fucked. Now, now the borders opened up.
If I didn't go during the pandemic, there's no fucking way.
I've been to Disneyland and Sea now, and both of them were fine. Just fine.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just not a Disney guy, and nor is Sydney. She's not a Disney guy either. So
you're very lucky.
Huh?
You're very lucky that your partner isn't like Disney obsessed. I feel like it becomes a nightmare once they are. Yeah. Because you're owned by the Disney Corporation.
Yeah.
Because she is.
and it's so I don't want to say it's horrible, but it's so like asinine because she got into it not because of Disney, but because of Kingdom Hearts. So it's like extra. It's like I have to deal.
There's always an avenue.
It's like I have to deal with the Disney side and the Kingdom Hearts side, so it's just like a double whammy. But at least she doesn't like drag me to go to Disneyland because she knows I don't like it. So it's like, it's fine. You can go to Disneyland. It's cool.
You've paid the tax enough.
You've been to a theme park with a theme park obsessed person?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's the worst.
My cousin, actually, my younger cousin, used to have the Disney yearly pass. Which is like I don't know how much it is.
It's such good value for money because it costs like 4 tickets.
Yeah, but like I think like I actually did the calculations. It's like it's only worth the money if you end up going to Disneyland. I think it's like at least 2 or 3 times a month.
Yeah.
Is it really? I thought it was way less. I thought it was like 4 to 5 times a year.
I think it's something like at least in the Japanese one, it's like 2 to 3 times a month.
Fuck me.
But
my cousin used to go every week.
I've never like been a guy who like I like theme parks. I like going to theme parks.
thrill parks.
I like thrill parks.
See, I don't like thrill or theme parks.
I would never think about going to like a thrill park or theme park more than twice a year, like ever.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just maybe my mind just like programmed that way. But once I've seen everything once, I'm like, okay, that was cool. I don't need to go again for a while. You know?
Yeah.
They actually postponed. She took it off the website. Actually, it's
the yearly pass,
the annual passports.
Oh yeah, probably because of the pandemic, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when you go with someone who's obsessed, they're like they have an itinerary in their head, and if you don't stick to it, they get so annoyed. They're like, I'm like, what if I don't want to do that ride? They're like, no, you have to. That's the optimal way.
No, see, because I have friends who are Disneyland obsessed, but they don't like going on rides. They literally go to Disneyland just to take photos.
What the fuck?
And I'm just like, Emmett, you do you. Don't involve me in that shit.
It's a Disneyland teamLab's exhibition, right? That's basically what it is.
Basically,
It's an art exhibition.
Yeah, it's like I don't want the interactivity. I just want to take the photos.
I don't know if maybe doing a ton of anime conventions just turned me off this, but I just don't enjoy being in places when I'm shoulder to shoulder with people.
No,
and sometimes when Disney is packed, it's like I feel like I just don't want to be.
I've never been that way, but I think being to enough anime conventions has just put me off that even more.
Yeah,
because I'm like, god damn, nothing is more suffocating than being in a room full of weebs and someone there fucking stinks, and you can't pinpoint who it is.
Disneyland's
but
outside.
someone here stinks.
Well, luckily Disneyland is not as bad, but unless there's a weeb at
but like
Disneyland.
not even Disneyland, but fucking just like the thought of going to Kyoto now just like turns me off so much.
Yeah. For sure.
I just don't think anything in my mind is worth being like shoulder to shoulder stuck to people. I'm just kind of like, actually, I'd rather just not. I'm good. Like, maybe I miss out on some cool things, but ultimately, I just don't want to have to line up for like 3 hours for anything or just be shoulder to shoulder. People.
Yeah, I've realized like I've grown 2 big like pet peeves like growing up now that I just like have like zero tolerance for, and one of them is being in a big crowded in a big space full of crowded people.
Yeah.
And the second one is just queuing up for an experience,
Oh
I guess.
my God.
Waiting at 30
And Disneyland is both of those.
Okay, like if I really want to go to a restaurant, right?
Yeah.
And you have a restaurant that's like highly acclaimed,
Yeah.
really got really good reviews, but you have to wait half an hour for,
Right.
or a restaurant that has no wait, that serves the same cuisine but has lower rated reviews. I'm going for that one every single fucking
Well,
time.
I mean, Japan loves lining up for stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that onigiri place. We have to wait 2 hours to get an onigiri.
Yeah.
An onigiri. That's like waiting up 4 hours for beans on toast in the UK.
I look at shit like that and I'm just like, how much better could it be?
No, it can't. It can't. There's no way it can be worth waiting 2 hours. I refuse to believe it. Hey, maybe I'll get proven wrong and I'll try it and I'll nut my pants right
Unless
away.
they're like
but,
sprinkling that onigiri with cocaine or something, it's
honestly,
like it's not worth it.
There's no way. I refuse to believe there's I've never waited that long for any food and I thought that was worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever. Like,
But then
food is
again,
just
like
fine.
Japan and the concept of like foodies especially in Japan, is on another level. Like there are lots of like
I know.
food obsessed like foodies all over the world that
Yeah.
you've seen and stuff like that. But like in Japan, they're just like, when it comes to food, they're just like living in an entirely different universe.
Just give me a time when I can book and come in, and then I will wait 3 months for the booking to experience this thing if needs be. But if I need to like queue up, I'm like, no.
No,
this is where I draw the line.
No, because then there are those asshole stores that are just like so up themselves where they're like, yeah, people are willing to wait. So we're not actually going to allow bookings. You just have to get there early enough. And I'm like, every time I see stores like that, I'm like, I fucking hate you. I'm sure your food is delicious, but fuck you.
I think sometimes the ones that don't allow bookings are like really popular restaurants or chains that know that they'll have a consistent customer base.
Yeah.
And in their mind, you know, having this table blocked off that could hold maybe 8 people, you know, maybe that's you know, a ton of customers you're losing out on that could be coming through and way quicker. And maybe this booking doesn't even show at one point. So maybe in their business model, because they're so popular, it makes way more sense to not have reservations. And also, it is kind of nice being able to just turn up to some nice restaurants. And if you're lucky and there's 2 of you, it's like, oh, cool, we can just get a seat right now.
Right.
Like, that's nice. So I think there are pros and cons of everything.
Yeah, for sure.
But fuck no, I'm not waiting 2 hours. Bro, I'm going to like Denny's. I'm not waiting that long. I'm straight up like, I feel like my time is the most important aspect to me. Yeah. And I feel insulted when someone's like, hey, you got to wait 2 hours for onigiri. I'm like, well,
it's like, no, I'm going to Family Mart.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I like the 7-Eleven one. Like, I'm chill with it being that quality. I don't need this.
So we talked about like museums and like, you know, like, not really like vibing with art exhibitions and stuff like that. How do you guys feel about guided tours?
I hate them.
Hate them. Hate it.
Unless
something we all agree about, finally.
Unless the tour guide is an absolute goat and loves his job and is like super knowledgeable and super like upbeat. Like I have seen some tour guides who you're like, okay, damn, I want to be on this tour. But like most of them are just, hey, this happens to be a really historical area with a lot of stuff going on. We paid some guy who's kind of into it. Like, he doesn't really care. He's not really enthusiastic about it.
And he's just following
let's just recite a script.
Yeah,
like
just following a script.
Like, you know, in like London and stuff, the most interesting people to ask about London and local London like traditions or places are just normally like cab drivers. Like, they know London so well and they're so passionate about it.
Yeah, for sure.
I got in the cab one time and the guy just happened to be a certified tour guide in London. And he gave me like so many good recommendations of pubs and places to go eat for like really good stuff that I never knew, even when I was living there.
Right.
And that was way better than going on some guided tour that you pay out of the ass for, where some guy really uninspiredly talks to you about London, right? Like I feel that it's such a mixed bag where it's just not worth it a lot of the time. And also, fuck having to walk around for 2 hours on some guided tour. I just want to do my own thing.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I get why guided tours.
Sorry, I got angry just thinking about it.
No, I get, because like I get why guided tours exist, right? Because, you know, for a lot of people who aren't used to traveling and, you know, maybe a little bit worried about, you know, potentially going to some place that's a little like, or, you know, potentially scared to have a not as good of an experience, right?
It's good for schools.
Yeah, and it's good for schools.
But then I also think that's what put me off tour guides initially. Because every time we went on a tour guide school trip, it was the most boring ass fucking thing of all time.
We did fucking school trips of coal mines.
Yeah.
Coal mines?
Yeah. Because Wales had a massive coal boom in like, I think like the 50s, 60s, I think. So there's tons of coal mines in Wales.
I remember I went to one, which was
so we
I'm just processing that right now.
Okay,
we're like, where do we take the kids today? Yo, you're gonna like this.
It's a part of Welsh history, and now these kids in Minecraft they're yearning for the mines, right? So we went to these mines, right, and they would literally just go into the mine, like straight up, just go into it. And they'd be like, "This is where they would mine the coal."
Would you say that was the worst guided tour that you ever went on? Because the worst one for me was we got taken to a sewage plantation when we were like, I think like 8th grade, because there was one right near our high school. And they were like, yeah, it's like 10 minutes.
There's a few things near my high school. I don't think they thought we should go have a tour.
It's like 15 minutes by bus. So let's go check out how your shit is processed. And we went there, and A, it was boring as fuck, and B, smelt like shit. 2 kids fainted because of how bad it smelled. And I'm just like, teacher, why did you, this is like a punishment. This is not, I'm not learning anything other than the fact that, yes, indeed, poop does smell very bad.
Poo smell bad.
Poo smell bad. I knew that.
Yeah.
That was by far the worst one.
Stinky.
Poop, stinky, pass out.
Why did they take you to a sewage plant?
I don't know, because I guess like the teacher was like, let's find out how this kind of these kinds of dirty jobs exist and people need to do this kind of thing, and it's good for the environment, it's good for the oceans and stuff like that. So let's find out. Have you ever wondered what happens after you flush your toilet? And all the kids are like, no, actually. I'm sure it goes to some fucking plantation, but do I care about how it's processed? Not really.
I'd rather do a sewage tour plant than do some kind of over-tourist thing, like do a tour of Venice or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
that. I think I did that one time with my parents, and I just remember thinking like, oh, this is so boring. So boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like coming to this realization as an adult, because for the longest time I just thought I don't like history. I'm just not a history guy.
I love history.
Yeah, and I've come
love
to the
history.
realization that no, history fucking slaps. History's like so interesting, but I just thought it was so boring as a kid because it was taught to me in the most like boring ass manner.
I'm exactly the same.
And I was just like, damn.
I hated history class, but as
Yeah.
an adult, when you get to pick and choose what history you want to
Right.
do a full
Right.
dive into, it's fascinating as fuck.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think as a kid, I was just always like, this is insane. Like 50 years ago, it was like a totally different place.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That like in different periods of time, it's essentially just a different human experience altogether.
I'm sure
That's what I like.
I'm sure a little bit of that I felt as well as a student, but it was just said again, it was just taught to me in such an asinine way where it's just like I feel like I'm just like listening to someone recite the dictionary to me. It's just like
Yeah.
it's not fun.
Like even we had like some school trips where we went to some famous places where like some famous battles happened in like the history of England, and I look back at these battles, I'm like, this is like some fucking Game of Thrones kind of shit, right? It's actually like insane the shit that was going on. But I remember going to this school trip as a kid for like the Battle of Hastings, right?
No, we did. We went to the tapestry in France, I think.
Right.
You know where they have the Bayeux Tapestry, the really
Right.
long thing about the battle. The battle of Hastings is 1066, right?
1066, Battle of
one.
Hastings.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that one.
I mean, it was a very famous historic battle that changed the
We
tide.
talked about that in the UK.
Yeah, changed the tide of like English history and everything like that. And we went to like some of the fields where the battles took place, and I remember as a kid, I just find it so hard to immerse myself in what someone's telling me when someone's like just like citing off facts in the most monotone way.
Yeah.
Because they were just like, and this is where the battle took place, where all of these people died and everything like that. And I'm just like, it's a fucking field. Why are we here? It's a field.
I remember because obviously we have a ton of castles in Wales. And
Yeah.
we did some school trips to some castles. And there was like, you could do like a peasant experience or something.
Peasant.
It was like you
I
would,
do that every day of my life, man. Thank you very much.
I was like, wow.
peasant simulator.
I was like, this is fascinating. Couldn't be me. No. I remember we went into like, we had to, do a bunch of things that like the average peasant would do.
Right. Yeah.
And we would eat what they would eat. And of
Like
course it was
bread
shit.
and soup.
Yeah, it was just
That
soup.
sounds interesting though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
as a kid, you're like, as a kid, it was kind of cool. But as an adult, I'm like, nice. Fucking, what you scammed me. That's fucking hype. No, it was cool. It was. I tell a lie. I think at the time I actually really enjoyed that stuff more because like they, I thought that was really cool as a kid because they would actually make you get involved in the history. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't like we would just tell you, and this is what they ate. It was like, hey, kids, wear these because we would dress up as well,
Yeah.
like the peasants.
See,
I love
that's
saying the
cool.
word. Yeah, I love
Like
saying
that's at least there's like an interactive element to that.
yeah,
right?
and then we would like they never let us do anything cool with
even
like,
if it is questionable.
So I just have this image of like the adults being, and then the child dressed up as a peasant.
No, they wouldn't. I think they wouldn't say that, but that's now what I'm remembering it being, because it was, it was like they would make. Yeah, we would have to like. I remember we would have to make the soup with the help of the people, and then we would eat it, and we'd go to like the halls and do it, and then I think we would. There's one thing we had to do where like, God, I don't know. I have such a vivid memory of this. I think in some parts they would. I think like Christmas or something. I can't remember when you would do this. We spent like an hour just you had an orange, and you would just put cloves into it. Like the really smelly things. What are they? Is that what they called? They're called cloves, right?
Cloves, yeah.
Cloves, yeah. Those really
I thought you said clothes.
spiky
Yeah,
things.
I thought you said cloves.
I was like, I sewed a t-shirt on an orange.
Spiky, very aromatic things.
Yeah, cloves.
You would
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
just stab an orange full of these, and they would be like, it would make the room smell nice. I don't know why, but that's what we did.
And that's how Connor grew his hate towards oranges.
And that's where it began, quite frankly. I remember, we did a few other things. We didn't really do anything like super cool. Like I remember they would like show us where they would train, but they wouldn't let us like touch anything, obviously, because why would you let a 5-year-old touch a sword?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been badass.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty cool though.
Yeah, I think like, again, like I wouldn't mind guided tours and stuff like that if, again, there was that some level of interactivity, right? Because like, again, it's like as a kid or even as an adult, if you just fucking stand around and look at something while a person explains to you and being like, use your imagination to imagine what it was like, what it looked like 1,000 years ago, then it's like, okay, you know, history buffs will be like, oh, okay, that's kind of rad. I'm standing on a piece of history. But to the average person, you just be like, it's a fucking field, innit?
Yeah.
Like what am I supposed to do with this information? It's like sick. All right.
Like it's always like even as an adult, that's why I don't really go to a lot of like touristy places because you know if you tell me something happens there, and even if I go to the place, it doesn't like help me immerse myself in it unless I actually like find a way to get myself. Unless you find a way to get me to care about what's being said, you know, unless someone's actually passionate about it. You know, I've been to fucking Stonehenge. It's fun. It's a bunch of fucking rocks. Okay,
I went to Stonehenge.
It's a bunch of fucking rocks. Okay, you could tell me that this was the most historical site of like the earliest site of man. It's a bunch of fucking rocks. Okay,
Stonehenge was the most disappointing thing I've ever seen in my life. I couldn't fucking believe it.
Well, we British like to disappoint.
Like it was like it looked better from the highway. Than it does up close. I'm like, wow, that's a first.
Yeah, I look at like the Great Pyramids of Giza. I'm like, that's a fucking site, man. That's a historical
like
site.
that is somewhere I want to fucking actually go to and check out.
And then if you look at you're like, Mom, we have a historical site at home, and that's the historical site at home.
We have the pyramids at home. Here you go.
A lot of like, have you seen like videos of like at the pyramids? It's like there's so much trash.
Oh yeah,
so much. Like, and there's like not scalpers, like people heckling you, trying to sell you stuff. And
yeah.
So it's just like, okay, it's like that's when you're like, wow, I feel like a tourist.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem, right? When you're made to feel like you are just a cog in a moving part, it doesn't feel genuine. Like it feels like, okay, you're here for my money and I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Not that any place owes you to make you feel like you matter any capacity, but like when you feel like you're there and you're just a cog and disposable, it feels weird. Like I think that's why Disney has done so well. Like to their credit, they try and make it feel like people who are into it, like you are like you're in Disney.
Yeah.
You are not.
We welcome you with open arms.
Everyone's so nice to you, right? It's all perfect, right? It's all choreographed perfectly. And I think that's why people like it so well, because when you go to Disney, like a lot of people feel like they're, you know, that it's a part of them. Like it's like a real connection they have to it, and the Disney World and Land just helps perpetuate that.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas when you go to like fucking Venice, you're like, Jesus Christ, this is awful. I can't wait to leave.
It's like, I can't believe I'm looking at the Colosseum while 7 people are trying to pickpocket me.
This is great. I love this. I can't wait to buy a coffee for 15 fucking euros, and then it tastes like shit.
It's like just immerse yourself in the history. There's like 20 people taking selfies behind you.
Yeah.
Come on. So many tourists.
Chinese tourists just shouting at the top of their lungs, and it's just like, I can't immerse myself in this. It's
holy shit. Like, I remember going to like the Great Wall of China, and it was,
That's got to be packed.
Well, like shoulder to shoulder, man. I was looking at one of the greatest things mankind has ever built, and all I can think
it's pretty fucking long, though, isn't it?
It's pretty fucking long, isn't it? Yeah.
That was the takeaway. It's like, it's a big wall, isn't it?
It's pretty fucking long.
So's the M25, though. You know, that goes on for miles and miles, right?
I read a sort of thing that was like a news article. These 2 boys are running across the Great Wall of China. I was like, can't be that fucking long, is it? And I Googled it. I was like, fucking hell, that's long. I was like, fuck. That's pretty fucking long.
News.
I was like, they could have done 1/10 of that length. I'm pretty sure it still would have been great.
Yeah.
Like, I'm genuinely, someone should have told them, hey, this is overkill.
How long is the Great Wall?
100 miles.
Holy fuck.
Right? Am I crazy? It's like 100 miles something, right? It's fucking,
Jesus.
If they'd have done 20 miles, pretty sure it still would have been pretty great.
Okay. I see why they call it the Great Wall, not just the wall.
It's not the okay wall.
It's not the wall of China.
It's not the good wall.
It's not the big wall of China. It's pretty great.
How long does the wall need to be great? That's the resource museum.
Well, what's the cutoff between good and great?
So total length of the sections of the Great Wall of China, it adds up to 13,171 miles.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah, so 21,196 kilometers.
Yeah, I see. I would have
Holy
thought.
fuck!
See, even I thought 100 was. I thought it was 100 initially.
Why did they not call it the Giga Wall of China? It's more than great.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
To think about and everything.
Isn't it weird?
Being on the actual wall with like especially in like one of the big entrances.
Yeah.
You don't think that at all. You're like,
well, have you seen like there was a series that
Makes
Ricky
sense.
Gervais did with Carl Pilkington.
Yeah.
Where he basically just made this guy who, if you don't like, Carl Pilkington is kind of this very average British man
right.
who just doesn't like anything.
Yeah.
And so
Sounds
he
like
just
your typical
forced
British
him,
person.
Yeah, he forced him to get all this touristy stuff, and he just hated it all.
Right.
And dude, they made the Great Wall of China in that episode look so bleak and awful. They made it because it's just like he's on this bus on the way to it, and it's just a bunch of like people like spitting in bags and stuff. Like it made it like seem really bleak and kind of like, oh, before you get there, there's trash everywhere, and it's just like it's packed and rammed.
One thing that I've not seen anyone talk about the Great Wall of China. So I remember the entrance that I went on the Great Wall of China. It was one of the most popular kind of places to go because obviously the Great Wall is fucking massive. I'm sure there's a lot more aesthetic pleasing places.
How does it work? Do you walk and then get out another section, or do you walk and then turn back around?
So you walk and then there's a station and then there's a cable car that takes you up to the Great Wall of China.
Technology.
Yeah, which is not very ancient China. I'm sure they didn't have that in the fucking Han Dynasty or whatever. But you know, but there's a cable car that takes you up. So you're stuck. You're basically stuck on there until you can take the cable car back down.
Right.
So you go up and it's fucking rammed, right? It's absolutely rammed with tourists, and the cobblestone. There's been so many tourists that the cobblestone is just smooth. Like there were steps. Were steps, but it was more like a slide. Right? Because they had been eroded so much by so many people walking on the stones, right?
Jesus.
The one thing people don't talk about really, they talk about the history or something, which is amazing. The history.
The history's insane.
The history is fucking insane. You go up there, the first thing I notice is that something smells funny. Right, it's something. Something smells funny in the air, and I can't pinpoint it. Right. But then I soon realized what this funny smell was. I went in summer, by the way. I went in summer. So I on this wall, since we're stuck on the wall, you have to go take a cable car down to get off the wall, and obviously the line's fucking massive. Didn't go to the toilet before going on the Great Wall of China.
No. Of course, there'd be no toilets on the Great Wall of China. Why would they? Why would they install plumbing? Why would
so
obviously in hindsight, you're like, of course.
Obviously, they didn't have plumbing back in the ancient China, but since this is a heavy touristy place, obviously there's going to be some public toilets there.
Are they like porta potties or something?
Yeah, and I don't know how they get shit off the Great Wall of China, but a lot of shit stays on the Great Wall of China, and walking towards the public toilet was one of the worst. It was like a Dark Souls boss, right? You know, you like, just to get through the public toilet, you have to like
the gates of Mordor.
Yeah, you have to fucking fight through a wall of stench as you're like walking towards this porta pot, like this group of porta potties.
It's like the poison bar.
It was because like I was like, I can hold my breath, but you needed to be like an Olympic diver to hold your breath for long enough to get close enough to like go to the toilet and go out. It was one of the worst stenches I've ever felt in my life.
Disgusting.
It's if you're gonna go to the Great Wall of China, I highly recommend not going to the heavy touristy places.
Take a shit before as well.
And take a shit before as well. It's because it's an amazing piece of human history.
It looks amazing. I really wanted to see it.
God
at some
fucking
point.
damn it! Like the heavily tourist spots are just it's a nightmare.
I mean, for how long the wall is, there must be like blank spots, right, where you can go to the wall and there's maybe like barely anyone there.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yes.
Like I don't know how much. I don't know how much of the
enough.
wall is actually accessible to the public, right? Like I'm sure there's a lot of parts that are like closed off.
I think a lot of the wall is closed off for like government protection and stuff
Yeah.
like that. There's only some parts of the wall that you can go to, but there are less busier parts.
Right.
It just so happens that the part that's closest to Beijing is obviously like the
of course,
the most populated part and the
most stinkiest part of all.
and the part that I don't recommend going to, even if it is the Great Wall of China, because it's not a pleasant experience.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
What was the best tourist spot that you went to? Like one where it's like it didn't make you feel like the kind of bleakness of like, oh, this is just a tourist place that's like taking me for, taking my money, for the sake of whatever. Because, like we've talked about like how, you guys don't really like going to like the heavily touristy places just because of the feeling.
If there's one place, I don't know about the best touristy place I have been to, but the one place I do want to go to, because that everyone says is as insane as it looks, is the Sistine Chapel.
Oh, in the Vatican.
Yeah, in the Vatican.
I've been there.
How is
it's actually really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you don't even have to be.
You said confusion. The chapel, you're like the 16th. Oh, I didn't.
Yeah. No, I was trying to remember. I was like, that's the Sistine Chapel, right? Yeah. No, I went there when I went to Italy with Aki's family. Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, obviously you have to wait in line for a long time, but the cool thing is that they limit how many people can go in.
Okay.
So when you actually go inside, because of the scale of the building, there's only so many people who are inside of there. So it's actually quite spacious. Like you can actually like properly walk around and feel like the just the massiveness of the thing.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, you don't even have to be religious, but like the moment you walk in, you just feel something. It's just like, this is like, it really is like the most holy place, and it's just, I don't know. It's such a weird
Are you a
feeling.
holy man?
No, not at all. Not at all. But even then, like me being in there, it just felt so like
Is that permanent?
serene.
Is that
Like,
permanent dudes going, oh.
no,
Really?
no, because I was tempted but because
I
of just
wouldn't be able to-
how echoey it is in there. But like even then, like I couldn't even
What if
like.
someone else joined in when you started?
I looked around and I was like, "Are my lads with me?" No, not today, unfortunately. But like, yeah, just I don't know. Like, even if you're not religious in the slightest, like I don't know. There's just like this very strange feeling you get being in there, being like, "Wow, this is a very powerful spot," and I can't explain why.
I feel like that's how like historical spots and exhibitions should make you
Yeah,
feel,
I agree.
And I feel like a lot of it just get diluted down by, I guess, the over commercialization and the over tourist. I don't know what word I'm looking for.
Touristification.
Touristification.
I don't
That's a
know if
real
that's
word.
I don't know if that's a
We
word.
just
I'm
made that up on
throwing
Trash
it out
Taste.
there.
But yeah, that kind of thing where you have this really, really nice place, and then it just gets over touristy.
Yeah.
And then it kind of just ruins that
I
place.
can't think of a single place that was super touristy that I actually enjoyed.
Yeah.
I think I just prefer just going to a city or a place and just eating and drinking the food. I think I've said this like a million times with Trash Taste.
Yeah,
I'm just like
yeah.
over it.
I'm a simple man.
I am a food and a drink kind of guy.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm also definitely that as well. But if I have the opportunity to see, even just for like a split second, like some kind of touristy section of that city or whatever, like, unless it's like super fucking boring or like I just don't really care, like I'll try and make an effort to go check it out. I mean, there's been a lot of instances where like I've gone to it and I'm like, oh, that's kind of underwhelming. Like when I went to the Colosseum and stuff like that, I was just like you think about the Colosseum, it's like, oh, this is fucking amazing piece of architecture. And when I went there, I was like, yeah, it looks pretty cool. Anyway.
see, here's the thing, Joey. Here's the thing. I don't take pictures.
Yeah, I don't take pictures.
I don't post on Instagram.
Yeah.
So why would I need to go to 90% of these spots that people go to only to take a picture to say that they've been there?
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
fucking lame.
Well, but you know what's weird? I weirdly actually don't take pictures in the touristy spots.
Right.
Because I feel that's like everyone does that already.
Right.
So it's like I don't.
I'm in the fucking toilet.
So it's like I don't need
urinal.
to do that anymore. Like I rather just take like a picture of like a normal part of the city or a normal part of the environment, because that's like more of a, I guess, like genuine view of where you are.
Yeah.
Whereas like if I said like, yeah, I went to Italy, guys, and I took a picture inside the Sistine Chapel and the fucking and the Colosseum and everything, then I'd be like, okay, yeah, but like, how is that any different to anybody else's experience?
The Colosseums look so shit.
Yeah, I didn't even bother going in because there was like a 6-hour line, and I'm like,
What?
I'm good, dog. I'm looking in from the outside. Yeah, it looks pretty sick. All right, let's go get some pizza. Like, I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I like Italy a lot, but man, I did not enjoy Rome.
Oh, I didn't like Rome either. North Italy is sick, but
just want to eat some food.
yeah,
Kind of why I'm there.
I took more pictures in like Florence than I did in Rome because it's just like a nicer city, just in general. And it's like there's nothing like touristy there that I went to, but just like the vibe of that city was just so much
good food. That's
It's
all you need,
just
baby.
like better food and just
Yeah.
like the vibe was better and the people were better. It's just like so much more of an interesting experience than seeing the fucking Colosseum.
Yeah.
Every day I just want to eat food.
Well,
That's my
too.
that's my
Yeah.
go-to, and that's what I'm gonna keep doing for the rest of my life.
I believe you just described all living things.
Hey, I'm unique. What can I say?
But hey, look at all these patrons though. They're supporting us.
Damn.
Do you like going to touristy places? Let us
hope
know
so.
in the comments. I don't know how to end this episode. Hey, if you want to support the show though, then make sure to go over to our Patreon, patreon.com/trashtaste. Also follow us on Twitter, send us your memes on the subreddit, and if you hate our face, listen to us on Spotify. And we will see you guys next week.
Bye.